Chapter 240. It's nothing. It's just that in 2 days, little aunt and little sister Yen Ran will go to Notre Dame du Starlight. I'm a bit reluctant to part with little sister Yen Ran. Of course, Feng Ting couldn't tell the truth, so she just gave a random reason. Tian always thought that Feng Ting was a very kind girl, so he naturally believed her words. He frowned slightly and wanted to say something, but stopped. He seemed to be in a difficult position. Ting Ting, you should stay away from Feng Yenran in the future. Don't get too close to Aunt Tian Xing either. It's not good for you to interact too much with them. Why do you all say that? Last time, Lin also told me to stay away from them. Now you're saying the same thing. Big brother Tian, are you hiding something from me? Feng Ting looked at Tian suspiciously. Tian was so anxious that he scratched his head. He promised his mother that he wouldn't say anything outside, but he didn't want to hide it from Ting Ting. What should he do? Big brother Tian, if you know something, can you tell me? I promise I won't tell a third person. Ever since Lin said those words that day, she had always felt that something was wrong, but she couldn't figure out what was wrong. Originally, she didn't think too much about it because she couldn't figure it out, but today, she heard Tian say the same thing again. This was very problematic. Did Big Aunt really know some secrets of the Feng family? That's why she warned her children so much. She was suspicious and made up her mind to find out this secret from Tian, this idiot. Tian was still a bit hesitant. He didn't know if he should tell Feng Ting. Looking at Feng Ting's pleading eyes, Tian couldn't bear to reject the girl he liked. Ting Ting, what I told you today, don't mention it to anyone else after you leave this room. Otherwise, it won't be good for you. Even uncle and grandfather will be angry at you. Although he had already decided to tell Feng Ting some of the truth, for Feng Ting's future in the Feng family, there were some things he had to remind her of. Although Tian was impulsive and wasn't as smart as his brother, he was very good to the person he liked. All these years, he had been thinking about Feng Ting. Unfortunately, Feng Ting was too proud and wanted to marry into a big family. She wouldn't consider a small family like the family. Tell me, I promise I won't tell anyone. Feng Ting was more curious. What secret was it that it involved her father and grandfather? It all started when my mother was young. In Tian's narration, Feng Ting heard a secret from 30 years ago. 30 years ago, the mistress of the Feng family was still Feng Wulyo's wife, Li Ruo. Li Ruo wasn't an ordinary woman. On the surface, she was only a legitimate daughter of a middle-class family, but in reality, she was an astrologer. She could predict the future through the trajectory of the stars. Although she could only predict the future related to herself and her family, this ability was already very impressive. Li Ruo was a smart woman. She had been hiding her strength. In everyone's eyes, she was just a very ordinary noble girl. Even when they heard that she was married to Feng Wulyo, she didn't use her strength to divine the future for the Feng family. Because Li Ruo carefully hid it, no one in the Feng family discovered Li Ruo's identity as an astrologer. It wasn't until the 3 children gradually grew up that things changed. 30 years ago, the 3 siblings of the Feng family were still very young. Feng Tianqing was only 15 years old, Feng Tianjiao was 12 years old, and Feng Tianqing was only 10 years old. Among the 3 siblings, it was probably because the youngest sister, Feng Tianqing, wasn't so favored by their mother. Feng Tianqing's personality was more favored by Feng Wulyo and Feng Tianqing, so Feng Tianqing and Feng Tianqing's relationship was better than Feng Tianjiao's. Even Feng Wulyo felt more heartache for this youngest daughter who wasn't favored by her mother. For some unknown reason, as Li Ruo's daughter, Li Ruo liked Feng Tianjiao more. She doted on Feng Tianjiao a lot, which resulted in her unruly and willful personality. The Feng family didn't understand why Li Ruo liked Feng Tianjiao so much. A normal family would feel more heartache for their youngest daughter. Unfortunately, the Feng family would never understand the answer to this question. As the children grew up, Li Ruo's body became worse and worse. Every astrologer had a short lifespan because they knew the future. Knowing the future required the exchange of life force. Feng Wulyo didn't know about this. He only thought that because Li Ruo's body was naturally weak and she forced herself to give birth to 3 children, her body became weaker and weaker. In order to save Li Ruo's life, Feng Wuliu brought his son, Feng Tianqing, to a secret realm to gain experience and search for a fruit that could restore life force. After Feng Wuliu and Feng Tianqing left, only the 3 of them were left in the family. Feng Tianjiao grew up in Li Ruo's hands. She had the deepest feelings for Li Ruo among the children. Ever since Li Ruo's body collapsed, Feng Tianjiao had been guarding Li Ruo. As for Feng Tianqing, because he wasn't favored by his biological mother, other than the routine greetings every day, he wouldn't ask for a rebuff and go up to her. On the 3rd day after Feng Wuliu and Feng Tianqing, there was a commotion in the starry sky that night. There was even a meteor shower that streaked across the sky. Li Ruo felt uneasy. This kind of uneasiness would only appear when her family's future was in danger. She carried out an astrological divination behind Feng Tianjiao's back. The result of the divination made Li Ruo make an unexpected decision. Late that night, it suddenly rained heavily. The sound of the rain was very loud. Feng Tianjiao was awakened by the sound of the rain. She ran to find Madame Li Ruo uneasily. However, she didn't expect that Li Ruo wasn't in the room. It was so late and Li Ruo's body was so weak. Where could she have gone? Feng Tianjiao searched anxiously. Finally, when she passed by Feng Tianqing's room, she heard some movement. She walked into Feng Tianqing's room. Originally, she just wanted to ask if Feng Tianqing had seen Madame Li Ruo. She didn't expect to see Madame Li Ruo holding a sharp dagger and chasing after Feng Tianqing. Her eyes were very firm and had a strong killing intent. Her mother actually wanted to kill her own daughter. This discovery caused Feng Tianjiao to be stunned. Originally, Li Ruo's strength was far superior to Feng Tianqing's. Unfortunately, her body was damaged too much. It wasn't enough for her to complete the task of killing Feng Tianqing. In order to not be killed by Madame Li Ruo, Feng Tianqing pushed Madame Li Ruo away and rushed into the heavy rain alone. At this time, Feng Tianjiao finally regained her senses. She rushed forward to help Madame Li Ruo up. After being pushed by Feng Tianqing, Madame Li Ruo's vitality disappeared even faster. "Mother! What's going on? Why are you doing this?" Feng Tianjiao really couldn't understand. No matter how kind her mother was, why would she want to kill her own daughter? Although she didn't like this daughter, the 12-year-old Feng Tianjiao cried like a tearful doll. She supported Madame Li Ruo and asked while crying. Chapter 241. She felt that her mother must have been sick to the point of losing her mind. Otherwise, how could she have killed someone? Moreover, the person she killed was her own daughter. She desperately tried to find an excuse for her mother, unwilling to believe what she just saw. "It's too late. Cough cough. All of this is indeed heaven's will. Cough, Jiao Er, promise mother, kill your younger sister, you must kill your younger sister, or else the entire Feng clan. Cough. The entire Feng clan will be destroyed by her hands. Cough. She will bring disaster. You must kill my younger sister. Cough. Only by doing this can you save the Feng clan." Li Ruo tightly grasped Feng Tianjiao's hand. Her whole body was weak as if she only had one breath left. Feng Tianjiao desperately shook her head. Tears couldn't stop flowing down. "Mother, what are you talking about? Why can't Jiao Er understand?" "Jiao Er. Jiao Er, be good. Cough. Now, you must remember everything your mother says. You must never forget. Cough. Actually, your mother is an astrologer. Cough cough. When the 3 of you were just born, your mother had already divined your futures. Cough." Feng Tianjiao didn't have time to calm down the emotions in her heart. She was stunned by her mother's words. She completely didn't think that her gentle mother would be an astrologer. Astrologers were a special profession on the continent. They could foresee a certain future through the stars. Because of this special ability, every astrologer was a national treasure. If Li Ruo didn't hide her identity as an astrologer, even if she married a prince, she wouldn't be unable to do so. Even if she was only a daughter of the first wife of a small family, she wouldn't hide anything. It was because of the special status of an astrologer in the kingdom that Feng Tianjiao was stunned by her mother's true identity. Heavenly Star. Heavenly Star. Heavenly Star's future is the most obscure among the three of you siblings. Cough. Mother can only see a sea of blood, and nothing else. Cough cough. All these years, Mother has always had an ominous premonition, and could never bring herself to like Heavenly Star. Cough cough. Even if she is my daughter. Until tonight, because of the appearance of the meteor shower, I divined the stars again and finally let me discover, cough cough. So the Heavenly Star is the Feng family's bane. She will harm the entire Feng family. Everyone in the Feng family will die, cough. No one can live. Remember, you must kill Tian Xing. Kill Tian Xing. She will bring Mo Xing to our Feng family. Cough. The Feng family will be destroyed by her and Mo Xing. After saying this, Li Ruo could no longer hold on. Her arm fell to the ground and she stopped breathing. Mom! Feng Tianjiao screamed shrilly. The outside world seemed to be isolated by the rain. Her screams were also drowned out by the rolling thunder and rain. After crying, Feng Tianjiao naturally thought of carrying out her mother's dying order. She wanted to kill Feng Tianxing. Since this was the last thing her mother wanted her to do, then she must do it no matter what. Unfortunately, before Feng Tianjiao could kill her sister, Feng Tianxing, Feng Wuliu and his son returned. It turned out that when Feng Wuliu left, he brought Li Ruo's lifestone with him. After only 3 days, the lifestone became dimmer and dimmer. The light was about to disappear. The father and son immediately rushed back home. They didn't expect to see the two sisters fighting when they got home. Feng Tianxing's body was full of injuries. Although Feng Tianjiao was also injured, it was lighter than Feng Tianxing's. When Feng Tianjiao saw that her father and brother stopped her from killing Feng Tianjiao, she immediately told them what her mother said before she died. She didn't expect that Feng Wuliu and Feng Tianxing didn't believe her. Instead, they blamed her for wanting to kill her sister when Li Ruo just died. They felt that she had let down Li Ruo's years of love. Feng Tianxing also didn't know what was going on. Otherwise, with the fact that Li Ruo wanted to kill her, the relationship between the two sisters would enter a freezing point. The father and son of the Feng family were more protective of their youngest daughter, Feng Tianxing. They also alienated Feng Tianjiao. Feng Tianjiao didn't give up because of the alienation of her family. Instead, her killing intent towards Feng Tianxing flourished. Feng Tianjiao loved Li Ruo the most. In order to complete her mother's dying order, Feng Tianjiao planned to kill Li Ruo several times. When Feng Wuliu found out, she didn't know how many times she was punished. She was almost beaten to death several times. After her injuries were healed, she still continued to assassinate Feng Tianxing. Later, in order to avoid Feng Tianjiao, Feng Tianxing took the initiative to go to the Blood Moon Forest to guard the boundary. Because of Feng Tianxing's concession, Feng Wuliu and his son felt even more sorry for Feng Tianxing. Their feelings towards Feng Tianjiao became even weaker. Especially after Feng Tianjiao insisted on marrying the son of a small family, the relationship between Feng Tianjiao and the rest of the Feng family almost broke through the freezing point. After so many years of contact, it was just a matter of face. This was also the reason why Feng Yanran, whom Feng Wuliu and Feng Tianxing doted on so much, had indifferent feelings towards the children of the Yi family. After listening to Feng Tianjiao's story, Yi Tian also spent a long time to digest it. Perhaps in the eyes of outsiders, Feng Tianjiao was very unreliable, but as her son, he knew that his mother, Feng Tianjiao, wasn't a simple woman. Moreover, his mother didn't regret marrying his father like what the outside world said. In fact, his mother and father's relationship was very good. The two were very loving. It was just that outsiders didn't believe it. They only thought that his mother wanted to save face and deliberately showed her happiness in front of outsiders. In fact, she lived a very hard life. His mother never explained the misunderstandings of the outside world. Even when she was in the Feng family, she deliberately took advantage of his uncle and aunt. He felt that the reason why his mother did this was to deliberately make things difficult for his uncle's family. After listening to Tion's story, Feng Ting was a little dazed. She didn't know whether she should believe what Tion said or not. Her grandmother was an astrologer, and there was a divination that in the future, Little Ant would bring the demon star to destroy the Feng family and kill everyone in the Feng family. This was simply too horrifying. She even suspected that it was because the relationship between Big Ant and Little Ant wasn't good to begin with, so she came up with this kind of plan to destroy Little Ant's reputation. But thinking about it, it didn't seem right. With her understanding of Tion, if this was fake, Tion would tell her the truth no matter what. She was still quite confident about her position in Tion's heart. If the truth was really like what Aunt Tianjiao said, then would the future of the Feng family really be destroyed by Feng Tianqing? Until she left the theater, Feng Ting still didn't have a clue. 30 years had passed since that incident, and only Feng Tianjiao and Feng Tianqing were present at that time. It was impossible to find another person who could verify this matter. Chapter 242. Without being able to prove the truth of the matter, Feng Ting had no way of completely believing Feng Tianjiao's words. Feng Tianjiao was famous for being unreliable in the ancient eastern country. Her words could only be half believed. Only her children would completely believe her words. Although Feng Ting doubted the authenticity of Tion's words, she didn't completely believe it. She still made up her mind to keep a certain distance from Feng Tianqing and her daughter. Completely cutting off contact with them wouldn't work. Even if she was willing, her family wouldn't agree. Not to mention how conflicted Feng Ting's heart was, Feng Wu and the others' assessment was about to come to an end. Feng Wu killed a magical beast with a slash of her sword and dug out its magic core. This was already the 5th magic core she had obtained, which meant that she had killed 5 magical beasts. These magical beasts were all monsters in special dungeons. They didn't have any consciousness at all. If they had any consciousness, Feng Wu wouldn't have been able to kill them. Feng Wu obtained 5 magic cores and returned to her room through the teleportation point. Other than the teacher, Feng Wu was the only one in the room. She was the first student to take the initiative to leave the dungeon. Mr. James saw Feng Wu coming out first and nodded. He was very pleased with her performance. Not long after Feng Wu came out, 2 more people came out of the dungeon one after another. Both of them had injuries on their bodies. It was obvious at a glance that they had experienced a fierce battle in the dungeon. One of the 2 was O Meng. When he saw that Feng Wu was the first to come out, he only glanced at Feng Wu indifferently and didn't pay attention to her anymore. In fact, he was very curious about the girl who was pestering Feng Wu. Although he really wanted to find out what happened to that weird girl, he gave up after thinking about it. He wasn't familiar with her. She had already become a demigod's disciple. If he approached her like this, she might think that he was trying to suck up to her. After another half an hour, the dungeon automatically closed due to time constraints. All the students who were still in the dungeon were forcibly teleported out. The students who were teleported out didn't look too good. Their clothes were torn and there were bloodstains on them. There was a girl whose face had been ugly ever since she was teleported out. When she saw Feng Wu, she glared at Feng Wu with venomous eyes. If one didn't know better, they would think that Feng Wu had killed her entire family behind her back. Now, I will announce the name list of those who have completed the mission. Everyone, listen carefully. Those who have completed the mission this time, do not be arrogant. Those who did not do it, do not be discouraged. I hope that you will perform better next time. Now, I announce the first place, Feng Wu. She killed 5 monsters, so her evaluation score will be increased by 3 points. Second place, Pelt. He killed 4 monsters, so his evaluation score will be increased by 2 points. Third place, Ronald, Omen, and Mogwai. They killed 3 monsters each, so their evaluation score will be increased by 1 point. Next, I will announce the name list of those who have completed the mission. Silder, Joseph, Marissa, Addison, Alfred, Alvius, Anson. James read out the names of 10 people in one breath. Originally, there were only 23 people who had entered the Mirage this time. Now, only 15 people had completed the mission. In other words, there were still 8 people who had not completed the mission. James did not punish these 8 people. Points would be deducted if they did not complete the mission. For these students, the deduction of points was already the most severe punishment. There was no point in punishing them further. James praised the 5 people who did the best. He also gave encouragement to those who did not complete the mission. Then, he announced the end of the class and asked the injured students to go to the school infirmary to be treated by the teachers. Treating injuries in the infirmary did not cost any money. Once they left the school and were injured outside, they would have to spend money to find a native doctor or a magician with healing abilities. It was much more convenient in the school. The school had set up a special infirmary. There were doctors on duty 24 hours a day. If they were injured, they could ask the doctors to treat them at any time. It was very convenient. After James announced the end of the class, he immediately left the room. The students looked at each other. Some of them took out medicine from their space slots to eat, while others struggled to stand up. They planned to find a doctor to treat their injuries. Fengwu was fine. However, she was a little hungry after the fight. In the Mirage, if one's stamina was too low, they would need to eat. If one's stamina was too low, they would be powerless and unable to walk. In the Mirage, whether it was doing quests, running errands, or killing monsters to level up, they all required stamina. If one moved too much, they would feel hungry. Fengwu rubbed her stomach. "I'm hungry. I'll find my master to cook." Fengwu girl naturally wanted to find her master to cook for her. Just like when she was at Mount Yuehua, she would find her master whenever she was hungry. The food that the master and disciple ate was all prepared by Lianfeng. Fengwu had been a kitchen killer since she was young. Unless Bai Lianfeng was tired of living, she would not let her beloved disciple cook for herself. Fengwu's plan was very good. Unfortunately, before she could walk out of the door, she was stopped by someone. "Stop. Don't think that you can bully people just because you're a demigod's disciple. I, Beverly, am not afraid of you. You despicable person, you snatched my magic core and still act so self-righteous. If you don't give me an explanation today, don't even think about leaving." This girl named Beverly was the strange girl who was saved by Fengwu. However, she bit the hand that fed her and asked for the magic core from Fengwu. Beverly was not a beautiful girl, but she was still a lovable little beauty. Now that she was blocking Fengwu with an aggrieved look, people could not help but think more. Beverly was not an aristocrat. She was just the daughter of a small businessman. Her family opened a small grocery store. Although her family was not an aristocratic family, she was also a child who grew up pampered by her family. When Beverly was in the original school, because she was in contact with some commoner children, her family background was also the best among the commoners. In the school, because of her good talent and family background, she was loved by the teachers. However, when she came to this school, everything changed. The teachers no longer paid attention to her, or other people. Her classmates no longer surrounded her, and no one looked at her with envious eyes. It was not until she entered the Notre Dame du Starlight that she realized that the gap between the aristocrats and commoners was so big. The young masters and young ladies of aristocratic families disdained to associate with commoners like her. Beverly also disdained to associate with commoners like herself. She also could not lower her face to hug the thighs of the young masters and young ladies of aristocratic families like some people did. Therefore, in her class, Beverly was just like a lone ranger. She had no friends at all. Fortunately, she was good-looking and had a delicate temperament. Some boys in the class took a fancy to her and did not mind protecting her. Chapter 243. Beverly was not an idiot. She only knew that what she could not get was the best. For those boys who protected her, she would express her gratitude gently but would not allow them to go further. Her attitude made people feel that she was not that kind of girl who liked to be greedy for vanity. Although none of the girls in the class had a good relationship with her, she had a good reputation among the boys. Originally, Beverly thought that it was good. Even if she could not be friends with the other girls in the class, she did not mind. But she had never thought that a girl called Feng Wu would appear. She was just a shameless woman whose reputation was ruined, and she even gave birth to a child out of wedlock. However, she was fortunate enough to be accepted as a successor of a demigod. Even if Beverly did not know Feng Wu, she could not help but feel jealous of her. After Feng Wu robbed her magic core, her jealousy rose to the level of hatred. What did she hate? She hated that Feng Wu was more powerful than her. Feng Wu only used 2 sword moves to kill the magical beast that almost killed her. Moreover, in her heart, Feng Wu was not as good as her in birth and reputation. She was surpassed by a person who was inferior to her in every aspect. Beverly was not a broad-minded person, so of course, she hated Feng Wu more. At this moment, Feng Wu did not know that she had been hated by the girl in front of her. She just stood there quietly, looked at Beverly quietly for 5 seconds, and then said, "Who are you?" Very good. Feng Wu had completely forgotten about Beverly. The onlookers became more excited. What was going on? One said that the other party robbed her magic core, while the other said that she did not know the other party. This matter was getting more and more interesting. They did not want to treat their wounds or eat their food. It was more important to watch the show. Anyway, they would not die from a small injury. If they did not eat for the time being, their physical strength would not decrease too fast. They would definitely be able to hold on. Now, they had better seize the time to watch the show. Beverly had thought about all kinds of reactions Feng Wu would have when she saw her, but she had never thought that the other party would directly deny seeing her. Beverly was so angry that her face turned red. In her heart, she labeled Feng Wu as a shameless person who pretended to be ignorant. Feng Wu did not know that because she did not remember the other party, she had become more guilty in the other party's mind. You still don't want to admit it. You were the one who stole my magic beast. I was about to kill it, but you suddenly appeared when I was about to kill it. You gave the magic beast a final blow and stole its magic core. It's all because of you that I couldn't complete the task given to me by my teacher. You're too shameless. When the story came out from Beverly's mouth, it became different. She concealed the fact that she was chased by the magical beast and only said that Feng Wu robbed her of her magical beast. All of a sudden, she turned herself from an ungrateful villain into an innocent girl who was persecuted. Suddenly, many people who did not know the truth began to side with Beverly. Feng Wu was accepted as a disciple by the demigod, which made many people envious and jealous. Now there was a stain on her reputation. If this matter was true and spread out, they did not know whether the demigod would choose another disciple. At that time, they would have another chance. Those who thought so immediately helped to denounce Feng Wu. No matter whether this matter was true or not, as long as it became true, it would be fine. Although there were not many people who thought so, there were still a few. More people were purely watching the show and wanted to be a messenger of justice. This is your fault, Feng Wu. We really did not expect you to be this kind of person. That's right. You are too shameless. How can you do this kind of thing? No wonder she has no injuries on her body and came out so quickly. Could it be that she robbed other people's magical beasts and killed them all? She is still a disciple of the demigod. With such a character, the demigod should expel her from the sect. I really don't understand. How can a person with such a bad character be accepted as a disciple by the demigod? Even I am confident that my character is better than hers. Feng Wu suddenly became the target of a crusade. If it was an ordinary girl, she would either cry out of grievance, tear apart these people directly, or directly pull out her sword and fight. But Feng Wu girl was not an ordinary girl. She blinked her eyes and looked at Beverly seriously for a while. There was a vague impression in her mind. I don't remember doing this. If you insist that I have done it, then let's go to the teacher together. The teacher is very powerful. He will definitely know whether I have done it or not. Feng Wu had a vague impression of Beverly. She did not remember doing what Beverly said, but Beverly seemed to insist that she had done it. So Feng Wu changed her mind and decided to go to the teacher. Ajur had said that the teacher was very powerful. If there was a problem, it was right to go to the teacher. Ajur was referring to academic problems, not this kind of thing. Beverly's crying stopped. She did not know how to continue. Go to the teacher? Of course not. If she really went, the teacher would repeat what happened in the instance. How could she face others? Don't think that I don't know what you want to do. You just want to use the name of your demigod master to ask the teacher to help you. Don't even think about it. Beverly, am not so stupid. No matter what, she would not go. Beverly bit Fengwu and would not agree to go to the teacher. Finding that Beverly changed her face the moment she heard that she was going to find a teacher, some smart ones also guessed that it might not be as what Beverly had described. Therefore, they became silent at once as they moved back a few steps. They were not idiots. It was better for them to stay far away at this moment. There were smart people, but of course, there were also some fools who had been instigated by Beverly. These people not only failed to find the loopholes in Beverly's words, but also thought that she was right. A demigod must be respected by the teacher. If this matter was brought to the teacher, the one who would suffer losses would be this girl called Beverly. Oh Meng, who had been looking on coldly, felt that people like Beverly were very shameless. Beverly, you said that Fengwu snatched your magic core. Then how many magical beasts have you killed in the special instance dungeon? Silda, who hadn't joined in the discussion, couldn't help but ask at this time. Beverly blushed as she didn't even kill a single one. She couldn't utter a word. So you didn't kill any magical beasts? Silda pushed away the people in front of him and looked at her with disdain. You said that Fengwu stole your magical beast and caused you to fail the mission. I'm curious. Even if Fengwu gave you the magic core in her hand, would you be able to pass the mission? If you want to pass the mission, no matter what you say, you have to have another magic core in your hand. The girls who were watching the fun covered their mouths and giggled. Beverly's words could not withstand scrutiny. As long as they asked and thought carefully, they would understand that things were not like what she had said. Chapter 244. Being ridiculed by the surrounding girls, Beverly's face turned red and blue. She had never thought that someone among the girls would speak up for Fengwu. Shouldn't they all hate Fengwu? She was just a commoner, but she had obtained such a great fortune. Weren't they disgusted and jealous of her? Beverly didn't understand. It wasn't that the girls weren't jealous of Fengwu, but not all of them were as brainless as Beverly. Anyway, Fengwu already had a demigod behind her. Even if they didn't give face to Fengwu, the demigod behind her had to give face to her. Very few people in the school knew about Fengwu's identity. In the eyes of most of the students, Fengwu was just a commoner girl. Although she had made a few friends with high status, it couldn't cover up the fact that she didn't have a high family background. It was because she didn't know Fengwu's true identity that Beverly dared to attack Fengwu so fearlessly and wanted to ruin her reputation. After she snatched my magic core, I always wanted to get it back from her. That's why I didn't have time to kill other magical beasts. Beverly wasn't a girl who would back down after hearing a few words. She stammered out a few sentences, which could be considered as an excuse for not being able to hunt magical beasts. You spent so much time chasing Fengwu for her magic core. Didn't you think about killing another magical beast? Silder sneered. Obviously, he didn't believe her words. I was too angry at that time. I forgot about it. Can't I? Beverly looked at Silda and said angrily. Sure, why not? Anyway, the grade is yours. What you want to do is none of our business. Silda shrugged and said indifferently. When the other students saw Silda making Beverly so angry that she almost vomited blood, they all wanted to watch a good show. You don't go too far. I know you and Fengwu live in the same dormitory. You purposely found me trouble in order to exonerate Fengwu. Beverly bit her lips with tears in her eyes. She looked as if she had been bullied and wronged. Seeing her acting like a white lotus, the girls disdainfully moved their eyes away. They despised women like Beverly who had no status and couldn't recognize the reality. Especially the girls who were in the same class as Beverly. They had long disliked Beverly. She pretended to be a goddess in the gang all day long. They didn't know who she pretended to be sacred and inviolable. However, The boys in the class actually fell for her trick. Many boys really liked to hang around her. Even if she gave them a cold shoulder, they still enjoyed it. As for the girls, as long as they gave Beverly a cold shoulder, they would be accused by the boys of taking advantage of their power to bully others. Otherwise, they would have a bad heart. Beverly even put on a pitiful expression as if she was being bullied. As a result, none of the girls in the class liked to hang out with her. Even those who were born as commoners didn't like to hang out with her. Beverly was a girl who was arrogant and didn't know her own status. If they really wanted to be friends with her, they would have to worry that they would be scolded at any time. Seeing Beverly suffer a loss in the hands of Silda, the girls in the same class as her were in a good mood. This bitch deserved to be taught a lesson. If it weren't for a bunch of brainless boys in the class protecting her, she would have long been taught a lesson by the other girls. She was still free and unfettered until now. I admit that I'm in the same dormitory as Fengwu. So what? Can't someone say something fair for you? Fengwu said that she would go to the teacher. You said that the teacher would side with Fengwu, who had a demigod as her backer. Therefore, the teacher wouldn't go no matter what. I say something fair for Fengwu. You have something to say. Does the truth have to be on your side? If anyone doesn't speak for you, they will be accused of harboring ill intentions and deliberately making things difficult for you. Silda had a sharp tongue. The moment he opened his mouth, he uttered a long string of words to make things difficult for Beverly. When did I say that? You're bullying me. After putting on an expression of, "You're heartless, shameless, and unreasonable," Beverly covered her face and ran away crying. She had no choice but to run away. She couldn't out-talk Silda, and the girls wouldn't stand on her side. As for the boys, she could see that a few of them were already hesitating whether to speak for her or not. If she didn't run away now, she would be besieged by everyone. With the main character running away, the show naturally couldn't continue. Mo Gue originally wanted to speak for Fengwu, but unfortunately, before he could say anything, Silda had already made Beverly speechless. Mo Gue was very happy to watch the show. It was indeed a good show, but it was a pity that he didn't prepare any melon seeds, snacks, or tea. If he had, it would have been great. What a pity. Mo Gue sighed in his heart. He felt that he was still not mature enough. He should have been more mature and prepared these things in case of emergencies. What did this have to do with maturity? Fengwu didn't say much during the whole process. She was reduced to a passerby, watching Silda and Beverly fight. The whole process was exciting, one climax after another. With the main character running away, there was no more show to watch. The whole thing was left unsettled. Fengwu was dragged by Silda and Mo Gue to the infirmary to treat her injuries. Although Fengwu didn't receive any treatment, Silda and Mo Gue both suffered some minor injuries. Since it didn't cost them money, it wasn't a big deal to treat them. The three of them went to the infirmary, which was empty at the moment. The 20 or so people took turns to treat them. It didn't take long for all of them to be healed. Only their torn clothes needed to be changed. The equipment in the Mirage could be crafted by players themselves. They could also be obtained from killing bosses or completing certain quests. Fengwu and the others weren't wearing high-level equipment. If they wanted good equipment, they either had to be strong enough to farm for it or have the money to buy a set on the street. Since Mo Gue and Silda's clothes were torn by monsters, they had to get 2 new sets. As for Fengwu, she didn't need to worry about equipment at all because she had a good master. After the 3 of them came out of the infirmary, Mo Gue and Silda went to farm bosses to pick up equipment. Fengwu, on the other hand, was shopping and eating on the street alone. Roast meat, top-grade roast demon pork. It's fragrant and spicy. It's guaranteed to be delicious. A skewer can restore 20% of my stamina. Only 10 silver coins per skewer. Bread. Freshly baked noodles. Only 5 silver coins per skewer. It's cheap and affordable. Bronze set. A full set is guaranteed to cost 50 gold coins. A full set is only 50 gold coins. Can be worn by anyone below level 40. Silver grade equipment is on sale. Don't miss it. It's crafted by a master blacksmith. What are you waiting for? Come and buy it. I'm 18 years old with fair skin and beautiful looks. I'm sincerely looking for a boyfriend. If you're interested, please message me privately. I'm looking for a wife. I'm good at my job. I want a real woman. Scram. Chapter 245. As soon as they exited the Notre Dame du Starlight, the streets were bustling with activity. There were people setting up stalls, looking for boyfriends, looking for wives, all of them crowded together. That scene, Feng Wu bought 20 meat skewers from the stall selling meat skewers. The stall seller was overjoyed. Seeing that Feng Wu was a cute little loli, he was in a good mood and gave Feng Wu a loaf of bread. It looked like this loaf of bread was taken from the stall selling bread. Feng Wu took the meat skewers and bread and ate as she walked. The meat skewers were very good and delicious. The bread was soft and had a milky fragrance. It was very fragrant. The Feng Wu girl was in a very good mood as she ate the delicious food. She was very happy. As they walked, two young men and women wearing the Notre Dame du Starlight uniform came up to them. These two people were obviously not new students because there were only 50 new students in this year's batch who had come to the Mirage. These 50 people hadn't received the Notre Dame du Starlight uniform yet. To be able to walk on the streets wearing uniforms, they were definitely seniors. At the very least, they were second-year students. Bao Er, every time I come to this place, I think of the first time we met. At that time, you stood in front of me. It was as if I was looking at a goddess. It was as if fireworks were blooming in front of my eyes and I could hear the sound of fireworks. At that moment, I knew I was in love. The boy wearing the school uniform held the shy girl's hand. His eyes were gentle and affectionate. Coupled with his handsome face, he was very attractive to girls. Big Brother Norville, the girl named Bao Er, shyly lowered her head and whispered the boy's name. The man selling the bronze equipment looked at the couple in front of him unhappily. Are you going to buy or not? Are you going to buy or not? You pretty boy, you don't have the money to buy equipment and you still want to pick up girls. Beautiful girl, quickly dump this pretty boy. Feng Wu, who was eating meat skewers, looked at this scene with sparkling eyes. This person is amazing. Bao Er, come and take a look at this. I think this dress suits your temperament very well. If you wear it, you will definitely be so beautiful that people will forget to blink. Pulling out the cheapest piece of clothing, Norville affectionately handed it to the girl. Bauer's face turned slightly pale. She took the red dress and compared it with her own body. A sweet smile bloomed on her face. Brother Norville, you have good taste. I'll take this one then. Bauer happily decided. Boss, I'll take this one. Taking out 10 gold coins, Norville casually paid the bill. The boss took the money, but in his heart, he was desperately spamming the bullet screen. You gigolo, you only chose the cheapest equipment, and you still stood in front of my stall for so long. If you don't have money, why the F***ck are you pretending to be a wolf? The young couple couldn't feel the boss's resentment at all. They held hands and went to the beach to look at the sea. The virtual realm was a simulated world. Of course, there was a sea in this world. Moreover, the sea was a sacred place for couples to date. The two of them walked intimately towards the beach. They took a stroll on the beach and sat on the reef to watch the sea flowers tumble. The two of them occasionally kissed and touched each other's faces and hands. It was an intimate scene. Brother Norville, don't you feel like someone's been staring at us? Bauer said uncertainly. Since just now, she had the feeling that someone was staring at them, but she didn't see who was looking at them. At first, she thought it was an illusion, but this feeling grew stronger and stronger. It was so strong that she couldn't ignore it even if she wanted to. Norville smiled dotingly. Silly, you're thinking too much. Everyone around us is busy dating. Who would want to see us? This was a sacred place for couples to date. Looking at them, other than the three couples, there really was no one else. Ah! Who are you? Who knew that as soon as Norville finished speaking, Bauer would turn around because she was worried. Unexpectedly, she saw an enlarged, paralyzed face appear in front of her. Bauer almost fainted from the fright. "Who are you?" Norville was also shocked. He had been so close to someone and he hadn't noticed. If this spread, his reputation as the fifth seat of the third grade would be tarnished. "You're amazing. You can make her so happy." Fengwu looked at Norville very seriously. This guy was amazing. He could make that girl so happy with just a few words. She had to learn. Then, she could make Ming-Shi marry her. Fengwu had this idea in her heart. She looked at Norville more and more sincerely and seriously. "Norville, tell me who she is. Is she your new girlfriend outside?" Bauer asked angrily. "No. I don't even know her." Norville felt that he was really wronged. He had many girlfriends, but this one really wasn't his. "You really don't know her?" Bauer asked suspiciously. "Really not?" Norville nodded furiously. "I'm not her new girlfriend." Fortunately, Fengwu already understood what these words meant and seriously denied this non-existent identity. "Then who are you? Why are you following us?" Bauer asked. "I want to learn how to pursue others." Fengwu said. "Ha!" Norville and Bauer felt that their brains weren't enough. "You guys continue. Don't worry about me. I'll just watch." Fengwu had already made up her mind to learn Norville's pickup skills. When the time came, she could use it to pursue Ming-Shi. "Go away. Don't follow us." Bauer was so angry that her face turned red. She was just having a good date. Who did she offend? Fengwu shook her head. "You guys continue." She thought for a moment and added, "Just pretend that I don't exist." "Norville, go get rid of her." Bauer was going crazy. She seriously suspected that this girl was hired by one of her rivals in school to make her angry. Norville looked at Bauer and then looked at Fengwu. Although the black-haired girl was a little strange, she was a really beautiful little girl. "That's not very good. She looks young, and she's a girl. It's not very gentlemanly to hit a girl." Norville had always thought of himself as the person who cherished girls the most in the entire Notre Dame du Starlight. All girls were cute in his eyes and should be pampered. He really couldn't bring himself to hit a girl. "What? You can't bear to do it, right?" "I don't care. You have to get rid of her. If you don't, I'll leave." Bauer pointed at Fengwu angrily. Her finger was almost poking Fengwu's chest. Norville swallowed his saliva and finally decided to give face to his girlfriend. He hadn't been with this girl for long and had only kissed her 3 times. At the very least, he had to kiss her a few more times before it was time to break up. "Well, miss, we still have things to do. Can you leave first?" Norville still couldn't bring himself to be rough with a girl. He could only use a more civilized way to solve the problem. Fengwu shook her head. "No, I can't. I'll just stand beside you. I won't disturb you." Why didn't they agree? She obviously wouldn't disturb them. Didn't they want to teach her how to pursue others? Fengwu was a little confused. Chapter 246. "You're the worst kind of disturbance here." Both of them yelled in their hearts. Make her leave." Norville, "Fine, if you won't chase her away, I'll leave." Bauer was so angry that her eyes were red. She stomped her feet and turned to run away. Bauer. Norville chased after her for 2 steps, then sighed and stopped. "Hey, beautiful lady, what do you want?" Norville looked at Fengwu helplessly. "Please teach me how to make someone agree to marry me." Fengwu stared at Norville and continued. Marry? Norville dug his ears, wondering if he was hallucinating. "How old are you now? You want to get married at such a young age?" "I'm not young anymore. I'm already a mother." Fengwu said. Be good. Don't make a fuss." She must have been the mother of a pet. Raising a pet made her think that she was a mother and wanted to get married. Were the thoughts of young girls these days so strange? I'm not making a fuss. I must make Senior Ming Shi marry me. I want him to be Xiao Ye's father. Fengwu looked at Norville stubbornly and said very seriously. Senior Ming Shi? The Senior Ming Shi you're talking about can't be the one I'm thinking of, right? Norville didn't think much of it at first, but after hearing the name Ming Shi, he couldn't help but take it to heart. Ming Shi's name was very famous in school. He was the 5th grade's valedictorian and was known as the prettiest person in the school. His beauty was enough to kill both men and women. Who knew how many juniors went to the 5th grade's teaching area just to catch a glimpse of him? Not to mention the juniors, even the seniors expressed their interest in him. Unfortunately, Ming Shi was like an ice lotus on a high mountain. He didn't show any interest in anyone. He had studied at Notre Dame du Starlight for 4 years and skipped a grade once. In these 4 years, there had never been any rumors of him having an ambiguous relationship with any girl. Oh, that's not right. There's a girl who seems to have a good relationship with him, and that's Senior Elena. However, Senior Elena said that she and Ming Shi didn't have that kind of relationship, and they didn't think that Ming Shi would like a tomboy like Elena. A series of information related to Ming Shi popped up in Norville's mind, but only a breath of time had passed. I only know one Ming Shi, Fengwu said. You want to pursue Senior Ming Shi and marry him. Don't tell me your name is Fengwu. Norville suddenly had a flash of inspiration. Fengwu had been in the limelight recently. She had proposed in front of everyone in the student cafeteria, and then a series of scandals had been exposed. People said that she had a child out of wedlock, and people said that she was sinister and vicious, and that she had plotted against her roommates. They said that she was two-faced, and was full of schemes. In short, not a single word was pleasant to hear. However, in the midst of so many rumors, she was still alive and well. She didn't come out to cause trouble, and there were no rumors of her being unable to recover from a setback. Her strong mental fortitude was also something that the seniors enjoyed talking about. Actually, Fengwu just didn't know about it. There were more and more rumors about Fengwu recently, and most of them came from the mage department. In short, those rumors molded Fengwu into a greedy, scheming, and vicious woman with a messy private life. Because of these rumors, Ajur had dealt with many people in the mage department. Many people who spread these rumors were beaten up by him. Mo Gue also worked hard to clear Fengwu's name in the swordmaster department. Fengwu's classmates were fine. They had been together for a semester, and Fengwu wasn't a complicated person, so it was easy for people to see through her. There weren't many people in the class who hated her. Everyone liked Fengwu's simple-minded personality. In order to not make Fengwu sad, Fengwu's classmates had been hiding all the bad rumors about her from Fengwu under Mo Gue's orders. They were afraid that she would be sad if she heard them. Fengwu was unaware of all this. I am Fengwu. Fengwu nodded obediently, a trace of doubt in her eyes. They had met before? So it really is you. I've heard so much about you. Meeting you today proves one thing. Rumors can only be half believed. No, perhaps not even half believed. He sized up Fengwu for a few seconds before nodding solemnly. As expected, rumors were the most untrustworthy. He couldn't see any trace of the rumors in this Fengwu. If she hadn't admitted that she was Fengwu, Norville would have suspected that he had mistaken her for someone else. Fengwu, I don't understand. Since you're so sincere, let's go. I'll teach you how to pursue Senior Ming Shi. Norville expressed that he had to participate in such an interesting event. If it really happened, he could boast to his friends that the two of them were together because of his help. He brought Fengwu to the beach. The two found a place with fewer people and sat down to talk. Apart from the sound of the waves, there was only the sound of their conversation. Although I've never pursued a man before, men and women are all the same. As long as it's a pursuit, it can't be separated from a few routines. Let me give you an example first. Norville paused for a moment before continuing. Under normal circumstances, when I see a woman I'm interested in, I'll create a few coincidental encounters and then say some nice words. For example, we're really fated to meet here. After that, I can send flowers. It's best to send roses because roses represent love. Women like to receive roses. When you send flowers, you have to praise the other party, such as flowers match a beauty, or say that the other party is prettier than flowers. I don't need to take notes. Looking at the girl next to him taking out a notebook and pen from the space with a serious face, and then writing there, he suddenly had a bad premonition. What else? Fengwu's eyes sparkled. In her eyes, Norville had already become a love expert. Let's not talk about the latter part. You should understand what I'm talking about first. Norville deeply felt that he might regret saying those words to the Fengwu girl. This premonition was getting stronger and stronger. After learning from Norville how to pursue Ming Shi, Fengwu naturally wanted to give it a try. After leaving the virtual world, Fengwu began to think of a way to have a chance encounter with Ming Shi. Then, in the senior class area, she would occasionally see such a scene. Scene 1. One day, the doorbell of Ming Shi's dormitory suddenly rang. Then, Ming Shi opened the door and saw the Fengwu girl standing in front of his dormitory with an expressionless face. Xiao Wu. Ming Shi was confused. Why was she looking for him? Fengwu, after staring at Ming Shi for a full minute, she turned and left. Ming Shi, why is she here? Chapter 247. The curious onlookers in the nearby dorm. Didn't you say you were going to confess? Miss, you didn't say anything and just left. Are you worthy of the few minutes of hard work we put in here? Image 2. One day, Ming Shi walked out of the 5th grade classroom. As soon as he walked out of the classroom, he saw a black-haired lowly standing at the door. The onlookers looked at her curiously. The onlookers. Did someone come to the classroom to confess to Ming Shi again? Are you easy to bully? If you want to confess, just say it. Just pretend we don't exist. Ming Shi, staring at Fengwu with a puzzled expression. What's the matter? Fengwu silently stared at Ming Shi for a full 2 minutes. Then, just as the onlookers were about to jump out and ask her what she was doing here, she turned around and left. Yes, no one saw wrongly. She turned around and left just like that. She didn't even wave her sleeves. Ming Shi and the onlookers. So what was she doing here? Image 3. Today, Ming Shi had just gone to the bathroom and was washing his hands. After washing his hands, he wanted to wipe them with a handkerchief. A white handkerchief was handed to him from the side. Ming Shi reflexively took it, wiped his hands, and returned it to the other party. When he turned around, he took 2 steps back. Xiao Wu, why are you here? Ming Shi was shocked. This was the entrance to the men's room. Ming Shi deeply suspected that the Fengwu girl had mistaken the men's room for the women's room. Fengwu stared at Ming Shi for a full minute, then said seriously, "We are really fated." After thinking about it, Fengwu added, "The heavens have destined us to meet here." Then she silently drifted away, leaving Ming Shi alone in the wind. He stared blankly at the 2 large words on the wall. Men's room. When Fengwu returned to the classroom, she was in a good mood. She had done as Norville said. Would Ming Shi feel that they were fated and agree to marry her? Xiao Wu, you've been going to the seniors' room a lot lately. What are you doing there? Mo Gue went up to Fengwu and leaned over the table. To find Senior Ming Shi. It was a chance encounter, Fengwu answered. A chance encounter? It couldn't be what he was thinking, right? Mo Gue shut his mouth. He prayed in his heart that Senior Ming Shi would be on his own and wouldn't cause any trouble. Unfortunately, no god heard Mo Gue's prayer. The news that Fengwu had gone to the boys' dormitory and the upper-grade classroom to look for Ming Shi had spread throughout the boys' dormitory and the upper-grade school district. Now, it was gradually spreading to the lower grades. Fortunately, Fengwu's words in the restroom were only heard by Ming Shi alone, so it didn't spread. Now, the only rumors circulating were that Fengwu chased Ming Shi to the upper-grade dormitory and classroom. Ming Shi himself didn't say anything about it. If someone asked him, he would just smile. Moreover, his smile was very creepy. When people saw this smile, they automatically made way and didn't dare to ask. Feng Wu's mysterious harassment finally ended with the last, chance encounter, in the restroom. If you thought this was the end, the Feng Wu girl would tell you the truth. You were thinking too simply. On this day, the challenge for the 5th grade's 10 seats began. As the first seat of the grade, he was definitely the strongest in the grade. Of course, this title of strongest was naturally not accepted by many people who thought they were weak. What could they do if they weren't convinced? According to the school's rules, there were 2 opportunities to challenge the top 10 seats of the grade every year. And as the first seat, Ming Shi was a popular challenger. Although everyone tacitly agreed that the first seat of the 1st grade was a jur, this ranking wasn't the official ranking. Even if someone wanted to challenge him, it wasn't the right time. Only after the results of the assessment would the top 10 of the 1st grade be announced. Because it wasn't time for the 1st grade to challenge the top 10 seats, they couldn't be picky even if they wanted to. They could only go to the other grades and watch others challenge. Feng Wu woke up early this morning to buy a large bouquet of roses from the flower shop in front of the school gates. Today, Feng Wu planned to give Ming Shi roses. Norville had said that roses represented love. As long as he accepted them, he wouldn't be far from a marriage proposal. Today was a big day to give out flowers. She counted out the pocket money she had saved up for the past month. There was a total of 100 gold coins. She wanted to use this 100 gold coins to buy a lot of roses for Senior Ming Shi. Feng Wu naturally didn't have that much money on her. Madame Lan and Feng Juntian had privately given her a lot of gold coins before she left. Unfortunately, Madame Lan and her son had said that she couldn't spend this money carelessly. She could only buy things she needed for her studies. Because of Madame Lan and her son's advice, Feng Wu didn't plan on using this money to buy her favorite food or the roses she wanted to give to Ming Shi. Because these things weren't for her studies, she couldn't buy them. In order to save up enough money to buy these flowers, Feng Wu specially went to find out which type of rose bloomed the most beautifully and expressed her feelings the best. The result of her inquiry was crystal roses. Each flower cost an astronomical price of 1 gold coin. In order to pursue Ming Shi, Feng Wu was going all out. Although she couldn't bear to spend such a large sum of money on flowers, when she thought about how Ming Shi would agree to marry her, she wasn't stingy with this kind of money. Although her heart still ached, with so much money, she could buy a lot of food. Feng Wu blinked, hiding the reluctance in her eyes. "Little girl, your 99 crystal roses have been wrapped up. Hold them well, they're very heavy." The old flower seller kindly and amiably helped Feng Wu wrap the flowers beautifully before handing them over to her. In the end, he was even worried that Feng Wu wouldn't be able to carry the flowers, so he kindly reminded her. "Okay." Feng Wu took the flowers. They were indeed heavy, but this weight was nothing to Feng Wu. With one hand, she paid the old man the money that she had already prepared. Feng Wu touched the flat money bag. There was only 1 gold coin left. Fortunately, the food in the student cafeteria was notoriously cheap. 1 gold coin was enough to last a month. "Little girl, are you buying flowers for your boyfriend?" This was the first time he saw a girl buying this kind of crystal roses. Crystal roses symbolized love. Many young men from noble families liked to buy them for the girls they liked. As for a girl buying this kind of flowers herself, this was the first time he saw this kind of flower seller. To propose. Feng Wu looked at the old flower seller and answered with a serious face. "Propose. Propose. He. Then uncle wishes you a successful proposal." Although the old man was a bit scared by such a bold answer, he still smiled and gave his blessings. At the same time he sighed, "It's so good to be young." Holding a large bouquet of crystal roses, Feng Wu ignored the gazes of the people around her and walked straight into the campus. After walking into the campus, Feng Wu suddenly realized a problem. She didn't know where the 10 seats challenge was held. If she had any questions, she would look for a jur. She took out her communication crystal and quickly called a jur over. When a jur saw Feng Wu holding a bouquet of crystal roses that almost covered her face, he was a bit confused. Chapter 248. Xiao Wu. Did someone give this to you? It couldn't be. Could it be that someone was pursuing Feng Wu when he didn't know? Impossible. He had never heard of anyone in the school who was interested in Feng Wu. He even gave her a crystal rose. One look and he could tell that he was a veteran in love. This kind of man had to be chased away. Ajur sharpened his knife and began to plan how to deal with the person who dared to have designs on the Feng Wu girl. He couldn't leave an open wound, it was better to leave an internal wound. No, I want to give it to Senior Ming Shi. Feng Wu said. You're giving flowers to Ming Shi. He must have heard wrongly. Ajur's eyes widened. Feng Wu nodded. Ajur felt that his whole body was not good. Where is the 5th year's 10 seats challenge? Feng Wu looked for Ajur to find out the location of the 10 seats challenge. She couldn't find it herself. At the number 5 training ground. Ajur replied reflexively. After replying, he felt that something was wrong. He pulled Feng Wu, who was about to leave. Xiao Wu, are you really going to give him flowers? He felt that he needed to tell Feng Wu that flowers were only given by men to women. No woman had ever given flowers to a man. He could imagine that Ming Shi's expression when he received the flowers would be very interesting. Feng Wu was about to reply when a familiar shout came from behind her. Xiao Wu. Arguros walked over from afar and called out uncertainly. Feng Wu hugged the large bouquet of roses. She turned her head slightly and confirmed the identity of the person who had come. Senior. Feng Wu hadn't seen Arguros and the others for a while. She was quite happy to suddenly meet them. What are you doing? This is a gift from her pursuer. How generous. Such a large bouquet of crystal roses should cost around 100 gold, right? Arguros wanted to reach out and touch the fresh-looking crystal rose, but Feng Wu moved aside with the flower in her arms, not letting him have his way. 99 gold. Feng Wu corrected him seriously. She thought for a moment and said, It's not a gift from a suitor. I want to give it to Senior Ming Shi. You want to send flowers to Ming Shi? Were girls nowadays so bold? This was the first time he had heard of a girl taking the initiative to give herself to a man she was pursuing. Xiao Wu, I support you for your courage. Let's go. I know where Ming Shi is. Let's go together. There was a good show to watch. He couldn't wait to see Ming Shi's expression when he received the flowers. It would be interesting. Should he record it with the impression stone? In the future, if Ming Shi offended him, he could use the impression stone to threaten him. That's a good idea. Maybe he could give it a try. Okay. Feng Wu replied. She hugged the flowers and followed behind Arguros. Wait for me. Ajur didn't want to admit that he also wanted to watch the show. If Feng Wu barged in, he would have to run away with her. He was going with Feng Wu to keep her safe. He had never thought that he was just there to watch the show. Of course not. She rejected Arguro's offer to help her carry the flowers. Feng Wu carried a large bouquet of flowers and walked in the school with 2 men who weren't bad in all aspects. One could imagine how many people turned their heads to look at her. Fortunately, the bouquet was too big. It covered Feng Wu's face and didn't let too many people discover her identity. Although the number of people who turned their heads was high, most people only turned their heads to take a few glances and didn't pay much attention. After all, today was the day of the challenge for the 10 seats of each grade. There were many exciting battles waiting for them to watch. Where's Arguros? Why isn't he here yet? Elena stared at the entrance of the 5th training ground and asked Skycliffe and Ruglas, who had already arrived. I don't know. He said he was going out for breakfast. He'll probably come after breakfast. Ruglas didn't care too much. Is he a pig? He's still thinking about eating on such an important day. The 4th grade will start soon. I heard that the 8th seat of the 4th grade wants to challenge him. Why doesn't he feel threatened at all? Elena said resentfully. Don't worry, that brat will definitely rush back before the start. Ruglas didn't think that Arguros would dare to be late on such an important day. If he doesn't rush back, see if I don't skin him alive. Elena muttered hatefully. Ming Shi calmly closed his eyes and rested. Skycliffe calmly wiped his sword. The two of them had no interest in this kind of boring conversation. He's here, he's here. Big sister Elena, look, that brat is finally here. Ruglas was grabbed by Elena and listened to her nagging. When he saw Argyros, it was as if he saw his family. Oh God, his ears were finally free. Elena turned around and saw a certain someone who had disappeared early in the morning. She wanted to rush over and pinch his ear and scold him, but she didn't expect to see a woman holding flowers beside him. How did she know it was a woman? Wasn't that nonsense? Have you ever seen a man wearing a dress? Who was that woman? Could it be Argyros's new girlfriend? This brat is pretty rich. The flowers are so expensive. This bouquet of flowers can't be bought without 100 gold coins. Because Feng Wu's face was almost covered by the flowers, and Argyros and the others were not close, it was no wonder that Elena couldn't recognize the girl holding the flowers was Feng Wu. Could that girl be Argyros's girlfriend? So he went out in the morning to have a meal with his girlfriend. He even bought such a big bouquet of flowers. Elena wondered why she didn't notice that this brat was so flirtatious before. I don't know, I didn't hear him say he had a girlfriend. Ruglas was also confused. He and Argyros had been good friends for so many years. When he thought that this brat had a girlfriend behind his back, he secretly thought that he must make this brat treat him to a meal. He wanted to eat this brat who was showing off his affection early in the morning. Feeling a wave of malice, Argyros pulled his collar. Why did he feel a little cold? When the three of them got closer, a juror, who had been ignored all this time, was finally noticed. Naturally, Feng Wu's real identity was exposed as well. Xiao Wu. Who gave you the flowers in your hands? Is there a man with bad intentions who extended his evil claws to you? Who is it? Is it this brat, or this brat? Elena pointed and bluntly listed Argyros and a juror as the main suspects. Even Ming Shi and Skycliffe couldn't help but look in the direction of Feng Wu. Ming Shi's eyes were dark. No one knew what he was thinking. Skycliffe only raised his eyebrows and continued to clean the sword in his hand. He didn't seem to be interested in anything else. Xiao Wu, don't be tricked by bad men. Men are all bad. It's safer to come to sister's arms. Elena was still talking. Even a juror and the others couldn't listen to her anymore. What are you talking about? Men are bad, but you women are all good. Chapter 249. Elena was still going on. Even a juror and the others couldn't take it anymore. What are you talking about? If men aren't good, then are women all good? Feng Wu listened to Elena's nagging quietly, but her beautiful eyes were fixed on Ming Shi. Feng Wu hugged the bouquet tightly and walked to Ming Shi. She handed the flowers to him. For you. Ming Shi, this is the first time in my life that a girl has given me flowers. What should I do? I'm waiting for an urgent reply. Ruglas. I'm so jealous. Why aren't there any girls giving me flowers? Argyros. This is a good show. Hurry up and record it with the impression stone. Ajur. It's too beautiful to watch. Elena. Mouth wide open in shock. Brain dead, Skycliffe. Luckily, there were no onlookers this time. There wasn't anyone around them. It was just an inconspicuous little corner. It was a relatively secluded spot and didn't attract much attention. Ming Shi and the others didn't like being stared at, so they took up such an inconspicuous spot. Feng Wu saw that Ming Shi was just staring at her blankly. She thought about Norville's notes and added, flowers to match a beauty. Argyros and Ruglas couldn't help but burst out laughing. Ajur, hand on forehead silently. Suddenly, his head hurt. Ming Shi, Elena, Skycliffe. When she saw that Ming Shi still didn't respond, she looked at Ming Shi seriously. Then, she said something that almost made him vomit blood. You're more beautiful than flowers. Ming Shi, my head hurts. Ming Shi didn't know what to do. He definitely couldn't accept the flowers. However, Feng Wu looked at him seriously. Her sincere gaze made him feel like he would be committing a crime if he rejected her. No matter how reluctant he was, he adjusted his emotions and smiled gently like a normal person. I'm sorry, Xiao Wu. I can't accept these flowers. If the corners of his mouth weren't so twisted, people would probably think that he was as calm as usual. Feng Wu was in a bad mood when Ming Shi didn't accept her flowers. Her expectant eyes dimmed. Oh. She put the flowers back into her arms. Everyone stared at Ming Shi as if they were looking at a criminal. Feng Wu was so upset that everyone stared at Ming Shi. Ming Shi, Xiao Wu, don't be sad, okay? Ming Shi doesn't want it, but I want it. I'll accept it. Ajie couldn't bear to see the Feng Wu girl so depressed. He reached out and wanted to wrap the flowers up to cheer her up. No matter who it was, the flowers had been given to her. However, Feng Wu moved to the side and rejected him without any appreciation. Ajie glared at her. He felt like his charm was useless in front of the Feng Wu girl. If it were any other girl, they would have happily placed the flowers in his arms. He probably wouldn't even need to reach out. Xiao Wu, why can't you give it to me? Ajie stared at Feng Wu, pretending to be wronged. Feng Wu didn't buy it. You're not as good-looking as Ming Shi. The Feng Wu girl looked at Ajie seriously. Ajie wanted to vomit blood. What part of him wasn't good-looking? He was so manly, so handsome, so elegant. 300 words omitted from this part of the story. Arguros and the others snickered. Just now, they also wanted to take the flowers so that Feng Wu wouldn't be too embarrassed after being rejected. Luckily, they weren't as fast as Ajie. Otherwise, they would be the ones embarrassed. Ming Shi didn't know why, but when he saw that Feng Wu didn't want to give the flowers to anyone else, he suddenly felt a little happy. At this moment, the teacher shouted from the other end. The 4th and 5th year 10 seats challenge was about to begin. Ming Shi and the others couldn't chat with Feng Wu anymore. They had important things to do. Other than Feng Wu and Ajie, everyone in the Ming Shi team had to participate in the 10 seats challenge. The 10 seats challenge didn't just allow ordinary students to challenge the 10 seats challenge. The 10 seats challenge could also challenge each other. If they lost, their ranking would change. Ordinary students didn't have the right to challenge the top 5 seats. If they wanted to challenge the top 5 seats, they had to at least be in the top 10. Because of this rule, there were more people below the 5th seat who accepted the challenge. Above the 5th seat, other than the people on the 10 seats list, no one else had the right to challenge. Elena was the 8th seat of the 5th year. There were many students who challenged her every year, but no one had ever succeeded. Skycliff was the 1st seat of the 4th year. No one dared to challenge him. Ruglas and Arguros were the 7th and 6th seat of the 4th year. There were many people who challenged them. Ming Shi was the 1st seat of the 5th year. There weren't many people who challenged him. It was probably because his appearance was too good that people ignored his powerful strength. As the 1st seat of the 5th year, Ming Shi would be challenged by at least 3 people every year. He was used to it. The person who challenged Ming Shi the most was the 2nd seat of the 5th year, Diane. Diane's real identity was a noble of the Silver Moon Ancient Kingdom. She and Ming Shi could be said to have known each other since they were young. Diane had never had any romantic feelings for Ming Shi. Diane's younger sister, Diane, had dreamed of being Ming Shi's bride since she was young. Diane doted on her younger sister, who knew how many times she had used their identities as classmates and childhood sweethearts to create opportunities for Ming Shi and Diane to be alone. Ming Shi didn't have any bad feelings towards Diane. Diane was a somewhat muddle-headed but very cute girl. In Irene's words, she was the standard female lead of a novel. Muddle-headed, cute, kind-hearted, and very lovable. However, Ming Shi only had feelings for Diane. He could treat Diane as a younger sister, but he could never love her as a woman. Diane gave people a similar feeling to Feng Wu, but there were also differences. Diane always had a bright smile, like a little sun that made people feel warm. On the other hand, Feng Wu always had a stoic face. She didn't have any expression, but people felt that she was soft and cute. The two of them might have different personalities, but they were very similar in one aspect. They were both very simple. The only difference was that Dian knew a little about the ways of the world, while Fengwu didn't know much about the ways of the world. In short, for the sake of her beloved younger sister, Dian had helped Dian a lot to attack her love rivals. Fengwu just happened to be on Dian's hit list. Back to the 10-seat challenge. Fengwu and Ajur were left as spectators. The others had already walked up to the stage and stood in their seats, waiting for someone to challenge them. The 10-seat challenge list rarely changed. Those who could sit in the 10-seat challenge were no weaklings. The fifth training ground was filled with cheers and shouts. Most of the people who were screaming were girls. After all, there were many people with status in the 10-seat challenge, and many of them were good-looking boys. Most of these girls were here to fish for the 10-seat challenge. Chapter 250. How could they not shout when they saw their idol appear? Among them, there were also boys who were screaming excitedly. For example, Senior Ming Shi, I love you, I don't mind being down there. Senior Ming Shi, I want to have monkeys with you. Ming Shi, I love you. There were many men on the continent who liked men. Although there were still fewer men than those who liked women, these guys lived in every corner of the world. No matter where they went, they would always meet some special guys. In addition, the continent did not prohibit men from falling in love. There were several open male couples in school, so it was not strange for a man to confess his love to Ming Shi. Ming Shi's smile was a little stiff. Beside him, Algros and the others were laughing a little gloatingly. The fourth year's challenge for the 10 seats will now begin. A fourth-year teacher stood on the stage and announced loudly. The fourth year's 10 seats stood in order on the stage. The expressions of the 10 people were different. The fourth-year students who were waiting for the challenge shouted loudly. There were only 2 challenges a year, and there were simply too many people who wanted to enter the top 10. Unfortunately, not everyone had the chance to challenge the top 10 seats. Before challenging the top 10 seats, the students who wanted to challenge would first have a competition. Only the last 5 people who won would have the chance to stay and challenge the top 10 seats. Because there were too many people who wanted to challenge, if they directly went up on stage to challenge, just the tag team battle would be unbearable. If they didn't set this rule, the people who wanted to challenge would have to queue up. It was also very unfair to the top 10 students. In order to have the chance to challenge the top 10 seats, the people who wanted to challenge the top 10 went up on stage one by one. This was a huge battle royale. Only the last 5 people had the right to challenge. The 5th year's challenge had already begun. There were many 5th years who wanted to challenge the top 10 students, so a battle royale was inevitable. Fengwu and Ajur stood next to the 5th grade's arena, watching the chaotic battle that was taking place. The battle was already in full swing, with swords and punches flying everywhere. Magic balls were flying all over the place, and if one wasn't paying attention, someone would be hit and sent flying out of the arena. The 10-seated students watched this scene calmly. They had already gotten used to such scenes after so many years. The girl holding the flowers is the junior who has been chasing after you recently? Dian looked at the eye-catching Fengwu girl below the stage. Her beautiful red lips parted slightly, and there was a trace of disdain in her eyes. Ming Shi only looked at the arena and ignored Dian. Dian had done a lot of things in secret over the years so that Dian would be the only girl by his side. If it wasn't for the fact that she hadn't killed anyone, he wouldn't have ignored her. What a cute little girl, but it's a pity that her character isn't too good. I heard that she secretly allowed her friends to bully her roommates, and even had a son out of wedlock. I believe our noble prince wouldn't take a liking to such a girl with such a bad character, Dian said casually. Dian, what are you trying to do now? Keep your little tricks to yourself. Don't go overboard. Ming Shi's eyes turned cold. Towards Dian, Ming Shi had already tolerated her for various reasons. If she really went overboard, he didn't know how much patience he would have to tolerate her. What? Could it be that you've really taken a liking to that little girl? Your Highness should stay away from that kind of woman. Our Silver Moon ancient kingdom will never accept a princess with such a bad character, Dian sneered. Dian, Seeing that we grew up together, I've already tolerated you time and time again. Please don't go overboard. Ming-Shi's face was cold, and the smile on his face had long disappeared. Ming-Shi, I'm also reminding you to stay away from that little girl. Don't do anything that will make my sister sad, Diane said bluntly. Unreasonable. Ming-Shi flung his cloak, turned around, and retreated to the side. He didn't want to continue this meaningless conversation. Diane didn't chase after Ming-Shi. No matter what, Ming-Shi was still a prince of the Silver Moon Ancient Kingdom. She knew where Ming-Shi's bottom line was. Unless it was absolutely necessary, she didn't want to fight with Ming-Shi. Feng-Wu stood below the stage, watching the chaotic battle. She didn't know that two people were arguing over her in a corner. Goo! Feng-Wu rubbed her stomach. She was hungry. What's wrong? Ajur wasn't interested in the chaotic battle on the stage. Compared to watching others fight, he preferred to fight with his own hands. He noticed that Feng-Wu kept rubbing her stomach. Thinking that her stomach wasn't feeling well, he asked with concern. My stomach is hungry, Feng-Wu said, feeling wronged. Because she had to buy flowers in the morning, she didn't eat her fill before coming out. Now her stomach felt empty. She was very, very hungry. I'll go buy you something to eat. Wait here obediently. Don't run around, okay? Ajur sighed and reminded Feng-Wu. Okay, Feng-Wu answered obediently. Seeing that Feng-Wu agreed, Ajur left with peace of mind. He knew that Feng-Wu girl had always been an obedient girl. As long as she promised something, she would definitely do it. Therefore, he wasn't worried that she would run around. After Ajur left, Feng-Wu stood alone in front of the stage with a large bouquet of crystal roses. She attracted a lot of attention, but she acted as if she didn't see it and didn't react at all. Norville saw a figure carrying flowers from afar and walked towards the 5th grade stage with interest. He didn't know who sent the flowers. It was such a big bouquet and he even let a girl carry it like that. Which guy was so ungentlemanly? He had to go over and take a good look. When he got closer, why did that black-haired figure look so familiar? Feng-Wu. It's really you, Norville said in surprise. When Feng-Wu saw Norville, her eyes immediately turned red. You're lying. Ming-Shi didn't accept my flowers. Feng-Wu felt wronged. In order to buy this bouquet of flowers, she scrimped and saved for a month. She didn't even buy her favorite steamed buns and drumsticks. It was all to save money to buy flowers for Ming-Shi. She hoped that Ming-Shi would agree to marry her after receiving the flowers. She didn't expect that not only was Ming-Shi not happy, he also didn't accept her flowers. You sent flowers to Senior Ming-Shi. Norville suspected that he had heard wrongly. Didn't you say it? I met by chance and sent flowers. I did all these. Why is Senior Ming-Shi still unhappy? Feng-Wu was a sensitive girl. Even if Ming-Shi kept smiling when he talked to her, she still knew that Ming-Shi wasn't happy. This made Feng-Wu very disappointed. When did I ask you to do all these? He was so wronged. He definitely didn't say that. Norville didn't accept this injustice and immediately started to cry out. Chapter 251. You clearly said that before. Feng-Wu bit her lip. Seeing that he refused to admit it, her eyes turned red and she looked indescribably wronged. Although Norville never considered himself a good person, he was always very gentlemanly when facing women. Seeing that Feng-Wu was wronged, he immediately coaxed her. Don't cry. It's my fault. It's all my fault. I admit that I was wrong. Why don't you hit me? Let's stop crying, okay? I'm not crying. Master had said that in the world of warriors, there was blood but not tears. She had never cried before. Her eyes were red and he could clearly see the tears in her eyes. How could she say that she wasn't crying? How could she be considered crying? Although that was what he thought, as a veteran in the field of love, Norville wouldn't say it out loud. Experience had taught him that when a woman was crying, he should never try to reason with her. Whatever she said, he could only listen. Seeing the strange gazes around him, and some people even looked at him with condemnation, as if he was a big bad guy who bullied a girl, Norville felt that it was better to take Fengwu somewhere else first before asking her slowly. His mind was still in a daze and he had no idea what had happened. He only understood one thing. Ming Shi had rejected her flowers, but what was with the coincidental encounter? Please don't let it be what he was thinking. Fengwu, why don't we go over there and sit? Norville asked carefully. Unexpectedly, Fengwu shook her head. No, Ajur wants me to wait for him here. Fengwu had always been very obedient. She would obediently do what she promised others. Since she had promised Ajur that she would wait for him here, she wouldn't leave. Although he didn't know who Ajur was, it sounded like he was Fengwu's friend. In order to take the Fengwu girl away, he didn't want to stand here and be the center of attention. As expected, he was trying to trick her. Your friend told you not to leave the 5th training ground, right? Don't worry, as long as we don't leave this training ground, your friend will definitely be able to find us. At worst, it would just take a little more time. Notre Dame du Starlight had 10 large training fields. What were they used for? Of course, they were used to practice magic and martial arts. The ground here was made of special materials. No matter how strong an attack was, it wouldn't be damaged. When students wanted to practice magic or martial arts, they would mostly practice in these 10 training fields. Each training ground was very large and could accommodate about 500 people training at the same time without affecting each other. Every time the school held the 10-seat challenge, it would be held in these 10 training grounds. The training ground was so big that it was not easy to find a single person. In order to get Fengwu away from the crowd, Norville started to yell without any guilt. Fengwu gave it some thought, and only nodded 2 minutes later. After Fengwu agreed, Norville didn't dare to delay for even half a minute. He immediately brought Fengwu to a place with fewer people and started to ask Fengwu what she had done. When he heard that Fengwu had unexpectedly bumped into Ming Shi outside the dormitory, the classroom, and the men's restroom, Norville said that he needed some time to calm down. Looking at the Fengwu girl blinking her big innocent eyes, Norville felt very helpless. What was this called? Heavens, it was all his fault. He shouldn't have told Fengwu these things. If he hadn't said these things, this wouldn't have happened, and he wouldn't have been blamed by the Fengwu girl. He felt so wronged. Xiao Wu, don't tell me you did everything as I told you last time? Norville didn't have much hope. Yes, I did say what you told me to say, but Ming Shi was still not happy. Fengwu couldn't understand why Ming Shi's reaction was different from what Norville had said. Norville. Nonsense. Which man would be happy when someone said that he was more beautiful than a flower? Norville felt so wronged. He had only given 2 examples to let Fengwu know how good he was at wooing girls. How did it turn out like this? Those words can only be said to women. It would be strange if you said those words to men. Norville couldn't help but growl. That's not what you said. Why didn't he tell her that those words could only be said to women? Norville was so mean. Senior Ming Shi must be angry. If he was angry, would he never marry her again? The more Fengwu thought about it, the sadder she felt. Her eyes turned red again. Stop, don't cry. I'll think of a way. I'll think of a way to make him accept you. As long as you don't cry, everything can be discussed. You said it. Fengwu's eyes lit up. Her eyes weren't red anymore. Instead, they were filled with anticipation. Could it be that Fengwu had learned how to fake cry? Norville couldn't help but wonder if this girl was pretending to cry so that he would take responsibility. But he knew that it was impossible. If she was so smart, she would have thought of a way to chase after Ming Shi. Why would she need him to do anything? Put the flowers down first. You're holding such a big bouquet. It's not heavy. As he spoke, he wanted to help Fengwu take the flowers down. Fengwu stepped to the side. No, it's 99 gold coins. It's very expensive. I can't put it down. It'll spoil. Fengwu said seriously. This bouquet was very expensive. It was worth 99 gold coins. You can't carry it. Anyway, Ming Shi won't accept it. How about I take it? Norville said. Fengwu still shook her head. No. Norville was speechless. She was too stubborn. How about you sell it to me? 99 gold coins. I'll pay you, he said helplessly. Okay. This time, Fengwu agreed. After talking for so long, she still couldn't bear to part with the money. He took out his money bag and gave the 99 gold coins to Fengwu. Fengwu didn't hesitate to stuff the flowers into Norville's arms. Xiao Wu, what are you doing here? Ming-Shi saw Fengwu leave with a stranger on the stage. At first, he didn't take it to heart. He only thought that it was Fengwu's friend. It wasn't until Diane ran over and exposed Norville's identity. When he found out that Norville was a playboy who changed women as quickly as he changed clothes, Ming-Shi couldn't stand it anymore. He told the teacher and chased after Fengwu. When he found Fengwu, he saw her handing the flowers that were meant for her to Norville. At this moment, Ming-Shi felt very unhappy. He had a charming smile on his face, but behind him was a black lily background. He walked over to Fengwu as if nothing had happened. Fengwu thought that Ming-Shi was still unhappy because of her. She was a little nervous. Isn't this Senior Ming-Shi? Senior, are you looking for Xiao Wu? As a playboy, Norville quickly realized that Ming-Shi's mood wasn't right. He laughed in his heart. So this girl wasn't singing a one-man show. I know you. You're the third-year fifth-place Norville. Are you going to miss the third year's competition? What he meant was, why aren't you leaving? Thank you for your concern, Senior Ming-Shi. However, the third year's competition is in the afternoon. There's no hurry. Norville smiled casually. As he spoke, he looked at the flowers in his hand and took in a deep breath with an intoxicated look on his face. Chapter 252. Ming-Shi's eyes darkened, and a sense of displeasure rose in his heart. There was also a faint sense of regret. Although he didn't accept Fengwu's flowers, he didn't like Fengwu giving her flowers to other men. Junior Norville, Xiao Wu is different from your usual girlfriends. Please stay away from her. I don't want you to hurt my friend. Thinking about what he heard from Dai and about Norville, Ming-Shi secretly became vigilant. He didn't want the pure Fengwu girl to become this playboy's prey. Senior Ming-Shi, I treat Xiao Wu as a friend. How could I hurt her? Norville hurriedly shook his head. A pure girl like Fengwu was never his cup of tea. Girls who were too pure were often stubborn. He liked to have girlfriends, but he didn't like to be tied down by a woman. Therefore, he would never do anything to a pure girl. Do you think I'll believe the words of a playboy? Ming-Shi smiled slightly, but there was a hint of coldness in his smile. Senior Ming-Shi, you've gone too far. I admit that I have a lot of girlfriends, but I've always been open and above board. If I really wanted to pursue Xiao Wu, I would naturally pursue her openly. I wouldn't hide anything. Norville felt the dense malice coming from Ming-Shi. Every one of his girlfriends had parted ways with them. He had never forced any woman. How could he not believe him? Norville is a friend. Unexpectedly, Fengwu actually spoke up for Norville. Probably feeling the tense atmosphere between the two, Fengwu looked seriously at Ming-Shi and expressed her opinion. In Fengwu's heart, Norville wasn't a bad person. In fact, she felt that he was a good person because Norville had helped her to pursue Ming-Shi. If Ming-Shi knew the reason why Fengwu judged Norville to be a good person, who knew what he would think? Fortunately, he didn't have reading skills, so he couldn't know what Fengwu was thinking. He's a friend, not a bad person, Fengwu repeated seriously. Ming-Shi was a little unhappy in his heart. This was the first time that Fengwu went against him for a man. Fengwu had always been a good girl. It was rare for her to go against people like this. Fengwu's protection of Norville made Ming-Shi feel that he disliked this playboy even more. Didn't she say that she wanted to marry him? Now she was protecting another man. Ming-Shi didn't know what was wrong with him. He just felt very unhappy, and he didn't like Norville at all. Well, even if he's not a bad guy, he's definitely not a good man. This guy's biggest hobby is to chase after women. I don't want him to hurt you, do you understand? Ming-Shi knew that it was better to be straightforward when talking to Fengwu. She might not understand his hint, and it was very likely that she would misunderstand it. Hey, Senior Ming-Shi, aren't you exaggerating a little too much? Norville yelled, trying to defend himself. He was really wronged. When did he like to chase after women? It was always women who liked to chase after him. I know. Fengwu stared blankly at Ming-Shi and nodded with a matter-of-fact face. She knew it when she first met Norville. You know. He always thought that Fengwu didn't know anything, so he was worried that she would be deceived. Hearing Fengwu's words, Ming-Shi was surprised. Fengwu blinked in confusion, as if asking him, what's so strange about it? When we first met, he was already dating a girl. He himself said that he was good at chasing after girls. What she meant was that she always knew that Norville was a playboy. As a matter of fact, Fengwu didn't know what a playboy was before. That was all thanks to the romance novels she had read during the holidays. She had read all the novels that her mother had strongly recommended. Many of the male protagonists in those novels were quite similar to Norville. They changed their girlfriends like they changed their clothes. When Fengwu saw Norville, he gave her the impression that he was a playboy. You know, but you still want to be friends with him? Why can't I be friends with him? Norville taught me a lot. She wouldn't even know how to chase after Ming-Shi. Norville was very good. Thinking of this, Fengwu blinked twice with her grape-like big eyes. He taught you things? What did he teach you? Ming-Shi looked at Norville and then looked at Fengwu. He really couldn't think of what Norville could teach Fengwu. He taught me how to chase after you. Pfft. Norville accidentally spat out. Girl, is there anyone who betrays their teammate like this? There are some words that we should keep to ourselves. Please don't say it. Chase. Ming-Shi's voice dragged out, but his smile became brighter. Xiao Wu, tell me honestly, did he teach you how to give me flowers? Ming-Shi's gaze was very dangerous. Norville was so scared that his little heart almost stopped. He was only a small third-year fifth seat. His strength was so low. How could he be a match for the strongest fifth-year senior, Ming-Shi? Xiao Wu, why are you here? I've been looking for you. Come, this is breakfast you bought for me. Eat it quickly. It's still hot. Ajur bought breakfast and returned to where they were standing just now. However, he found that the girl who was supposed to be standing there was gone. This made Ajur very anxious. He knew Fengwu's personality very well. She would definitely do what she promised. Since she promised to wait there, she definitely wouldn't go anywhere else. But now, there was no sign of the Fengwu girl. This made Ajur have all kinds of guesses in his mind. He was worried that something might have happened to Fengwu. Fortunately, he was still rational. After asking a few seniors, he finally found out where Fengwu was. Fortunately, the large bouquet of crystal roses that Fengwu was holding was too special. It was difficult for the seniors not to notice her. After asking a few people, he found out that Fengwu didn't leave the 5th training ground. He just didn't know where she was hiding. Ajur could only search all the inconspicuous corners. Finally, he found Fengwu in a small corner. However, Ajur didn't expect that not only did he find Fengwu, but he also found Ming-Shi. There was also a guy who was suspected of kidnapping Fengwu. Ajur was full of resentment towards the guy who kidnapped Fengwu. Fengwu used to listen to him the most. Now, there was a strange guy who could make Fengwu forget about him and run away with this guy. Ajur felt very unhappy. It was as if the daughter he raised with great difficulty had run away with someone else. What kind of analogy is this? Fengwu grabbed the breakfast Ajur brought back for her and happily ate it. However, Ajur's gaze moved to Norville. When he saw the flowers in Norville's hand, he felt that it was very dazzling. Chapter 253. She didn't agree to give the flowers to him, but gave them to this kind of guy. Could it be that his status in Xiao Wu's heart had dropped? He couldn't even compare to that kind of guy. Ajur was so angry that he ground his teeth. Xiao Wu, you're too much. I told you to give these flowers to me, but you didn't want to. Now you're giving them to someone else. Can we still be friends? Feng Wu ate until her mouth was full. After swallowing the food, she said, I didn't give them to him. I sold them to him. So it wasn't a gift. Ajur and Ming Shi were satisfied with this answer. Xiao Wu, let's go and watch the competition. Senior Elena is about to go on stage. We have to cheer for her later. They quickly took Xiao Wu away. They couldn't let that kind of guy lead the innocent Xiao Wu astray. Norville, what kind of guy is he? Feng Wu nodded when she heard that Elena was about to go on stage. She planned to cheer for her senior. Ajur didn't stand on ceremony. He pulled Feng Wu's hand and pulled her away, leaving Ming Shi and Norville looking at each other. Norville was holding a large bouquet of flowers when he suddenly felt a chill on his back. After putting the flowers into his flower ring, Norville squeezed out a smile and said to Qin Shi, Senior Ming Shi, I still have to prepare for the competition. I'll leave first. Bye. After he finished speaking, he wanted to run away. Unfortunately, Ming Shi had no intention of letting him escape. Senior Norville, can you explain why you asked Feng Wu to give me flowers? Ming Shi smiled brightly. However, those who knew him well knew that when Ming Shi smiled brightly, nothing good would happen. Senior Ming Shi, that was a misunderstanding, really a misunderstanding. It was Feng Wu's own misunderstanding. I was just telling her my own experience of chasing girls and letting her learn from it. I really didn't expect her to directly copy it. Was there anyone in this world who was more wrong than him? Was there? If he had known earlier, he wouldn't have come to watch the competition between the 4th and 5th grades. If he had stayed in the dormitory, he would have been able to avoid this disaster. Is that so? Come, junior brother, let's have a good chat. Ming Shi cleanly dragged the person away. Then, he walked to a corner and set up a soundproof barrier, isolating all the sounds within the barrier so that it wouldn't spread outside. After Feng Wu and Ajur left, they indeed walked towards the 5th grade stage. At this time, Elena and the challenger were already standing on their respective stages, each standing in a different direction. Elena held a long sword in her hand and wore a fiery red swordmaster's robe. She looked valiant, and coupled with her hot body, she was indescribably eye-catching. Sante, come on, beat Elena, it's all up to you, brother. Sante will win, Sante will win. Senior Elena, come on, don't lose to that stinky man. Senior sister, come on, we support you. Elena, my goddess, beat that toad Sante to death. The crowd below the stage was very enthusiastic. As a famous beauty in the school, Elena naturally had a group of personal guards who liked and supported her. There were both men and women in the personal guards, and they were all people who supported Elena. There were people who liked her, but there were also people who hated her. For example, Sante was a famous pervert in the 5th grade. Countless girls had been taken advantage of by him. Sante had always wanted to take advantage of Elena, but unfortunately, she had avoided him the first few times. This time, Sante finally stayed until the end, and immediately challenged Elena. During this holiday, Sante had obtained some opportunities, and he believed that he would definitely be able to defeat Elena and avenge his humiliation. Elena only looked at Sante with disdain, but she was prepared. She never underestimated any opponent, even if the opponent's strength was not as good as hers. Elena, I'm not the same as before. If you obediently become my girlfriend, I'll forget about your previous rudeness to me, Sante said, thinking that he was being generous. To be honest, Sante's specialty was not bad. Although he was not as handsome as Ming Shi and Ajur, he was still an average handsome man. Sante and Norville were somewhat similar in that they both liked women. However, Norville never forced a girl to be with him, while Sante did not have such a demeanor. As long as he had his eyes on a girl, he would use all kinds of methods to force the girl to be with him. Elena had saved several girls who were forced by Sante. You're dreaming before the sky is dark. Elena sneered. She had always looked down on men like Sante, but she would not underestimate a man like him. Sante was lustful, and he would do anything to achieve his goals. However, he was smart enough not to cross the line of the school, so he was able to stay in the school and not be expelled. Elena was not afraid of a villain. However, if the villain was not only evil, but also smart, then Elena would have to pay attention to him. Okay, I won't argue with you. Anyway, when I defeat you, I'll take you down. Sante's face darkened after hearing Elena's words, but he was not flustered and exasperated. Instead, he was very rational. Because of his rationality, Elena never dared to underestimate him, even if Sante had never defeated her once. Come on, Senior Elena. Fengwu shouted at the ring after finishing her breakfast. After Fengwu, a juror also shouted to cheer for Elena. Although cheering for Elena was just an excuse for him to lure Fengwu away, he would not slack off when it was time to cheer for her. Hearing Fengwu's voice, Elena looked down the ring and saw Fengwu and a juror. She smiled at them, as if she was thanking them for cheering for her. The challenge begins. The challenger, Sante, will fight against the challenged, Elena. There is no time limit until the winner is determined. After reading these words, the teacher hit the gong on the stage. With a dong sound, the challenge officially began. The two people on the stage were both swordmasters. As the match officially began, they raised their swords and attacked each other at the same time. Sante was very strong, and his sword was famous among the 5th grade for being difficult to block. On the other hand, Elena was also very strong, and her movements were more nimble than Sante's. After exchanging about 20 moves, Sante gradually fell into a disadvantage. Although he was at a disadvantage, Sante did not panic at all. He was so calm that Elena did not dare to be careless. She felt that Sante still had some tricks up his sleeve. Sure enough, Sante made his move. His sword move changed, and the sword technique he used was actually one level higher than the one he used just now. It seemed to be a newly acquired sword technique, and its level was not low. Chapter 254. The sky was filled with red light following Sante's sword, attacking Elena directly. The fire elements in the air seemed to be attacking Elena. Elena's expression hardened as she raised a sword to meet the attack, dispersing the fire-fighting aura. At this moment, Sante's sword attacked. He was fast, twice as fast as before. Sante's sword moves became faster and faster, and all of them were aimed at the female's sensitive parts. His moves were very wretched. Elena was so angry that her face turned red. She was disgusted by Sante's shamelessness. She also increased her speed to meet the attack. To be able to sit in the 8th seat of the 5th grade, Elena's strength was no joke. She would let Sante know that he was dreaming if he thought he could win against her with just a set of sword techniques. Elena's hands moved faster, and her sword moves were ruthless. She didn't hold back at all, as if she was determined to teach Sante a lesson. Fighting aura filled the entire arena. The students below the arena all felt a sense of pressure and a slight sense of suffocation. Everyone below the arena had a new understanding of the strength of the two people on the arena. Sure enough, those who could walk onto the arena were no weaklings. The weak ones had all been eliminated from the arena. Elena's attacks became fiercer. Sante's expression changed. Fighting aura surrounded his sword, and the fighting aura in his body was pushed to the limit. It looked like he was about to use a big move. Seeing this, Elena didn't dare to delay. The fighting aura in her body increased, and the sword in her hand danced. She was also planning to use a big move. Whether it was the students below the arena or the other 9 seats watching from not far away, they could all see that the winner was about to be decided. Sante's firefighting aura turned into a fire dragon and attacked Elena. The fire dragon was about 10 meters long, and its momentum was like a swan. It rushed towards Elena with the force of a thunderbolt. Elena's move was also finished. A giant bird soared into the sky with Elena's sword move. At a glance, the giant bird wasn't ordinary. It was the Eastern divine beast, a phoenix. This phoenix was surrounded by water vapor. It was actually a phoenix condensed from water fighting aura. Water and fire didn't mix. A dragon and a phoenix appeared in the sky at the same time. Although they weren't real dragons and phoenixes and didn't have consciousness, they were just energy bodies condensed from fighting aura. However, the natural repulsion between water and fire also allowed these two types of energy to erupt with a super strong attack power when they appeared at the same time. A dragon and a phoenix mercilessly rushed towards each other in the sky. When the two forces collided, there was a loud bang. With a loud bang, the two types of energy exploded at the same time. Elena and Sante used their combat power to create a protective cover for themselves at the same time. Unfortunately, the power of the explosion was simply too strong. There was simply no way to stop it. Cracks could be heard coming from the defensive barrier. In the end, the barrier shattered completely. At the same time, the two of them were sent flying by the scattered energy particles. A burst of explosive energy rushed out from the stage and rushed directly below the stage. The students below the stage were shocked and instinctively wanted to hide. Fortunately, the stage had already been set up with a formation. The attack on the stage would not hurt the audience below the stage no matter what. After the false alarm, when the smoke dissipated, the audience could finally see the tragic situation on the arena. Elena and Sante were both sent flying by the energy. Sante was sent flying out of the arena. He was seriously injured and coughed up blood. Although Elena didn't get sent flying by the explosive energy at the last moment, in order to stay on the arena, she was more seriously injured than Sante. Fortunately, her magic robe blocked most of the attack, so these injuries weren't fatal. After spitting out a mouthful of dirty blood, Elena slowly stood up from the ground. Although she was a little dispirited, she didn't look seriously injured. Elena wins this round. The supervising teacher announced the result without any emotion. Sante and Elena were immediately helped down. Then, two teachers from the pharmacy department gave each of them a potion and told them to take it to heal their injuries. In addition, there were also senior students from the light major who helped them treat their injuries. Their injuries weren't fatal to begin with, so after a round of treatment, they were more or less healed. The remaining injuries weren't serious, and they would naturally recover after 3 to 5 days of rest. After Elena's match, 2 more people challenged the 10th and 9th seats. Unsurprisingly, the other 2 also failed. One of them felt it was a pity. That boy probably didn't come from a high family. His weapons and equipment were very ordinary. If his equipment was better, he might really be able to make it to the 10th seat. Everyone who watched that match felt it was a pity for that boy. Irene stood silently not far away, watching the 5th grade's challenge for the 10th seat. Because Elena didn't die, many things were different. For example, this Sante. She remembered that in the book, Sante defeated the male swordsman in the 9th seat and successfully entered the top 10. The male sorcerer who was defeated in the 10th seat was slapped in the face this time. His popularity in the 5th grade fell and many people laughed at him. After the female lead met him, she encouraged him a lot. In the end, the female lead gained another loyal knight by her side. That's right, the male sorcerer in the 9th seat wasn't just anyone. He was Eve's brother, the male supporting character who died for the female lead. But now the plot had changed a little. Because of his obsession with Elena, Sante was willing to give up the 10th seat to defeat Elena. Eve's brother, on the other hand, was still standing in the 9th seat of the 5th grade. She didn't know if this change would affect the future. Thinking of this, Irene thought of something important. The most important female supporting character in the book, Feng Yanran, should be reaching the Notre Dame du Starlight soon. Speaking of Feng Yanran, she was the most important female supporting character in the book. But this female supporting character was a little strange. In the book, no matter if they were the female lead's friends or enemies, none of them had a good ending. But Feng Yanran was an exception. Feng Yanran lived well until the end of the book. Not only did she live well, but she also became the Blood Emperor of the Blood Clan and married a swordsman in the human world. The two of them lived a happy life after marriage. The reason why Feng Yanran was able to live until the end was because of the female lead. Feng Yanran and the female lead were the strongest friends in the book. When the female lead found out about Feng Yanran's true identity, not only did she not report it to the school, she also helped Feng Yanran hide her identity. In the end, Feng Yanran's identity was still exposed, and the Feng clan became the target of public criticism. The strongest person in the Feng clan, Feng Wuliu, died from qi deviation while cultivating. Feng Tianqing was alone, and he was soon schemed against and killed. In the entire Feng clan, only the eldest young master of the Feng clan survived. That eldest young master seemed to be called Feng Juntian. Chapter 255. Feng Juntian was able to survive because he had already become one of the Star Generals. Those people were not bold enough to attack the Star Generals of the Star Hall, so Feng Juntian became the only survivor of the Feng family. When she was reading the book, she only felt that the description of the Feng family and Feng Yanran was very vague. For example, because Feng Yanran was a hybrid of a human and a bloodkin, her body had a serious genetic defect. To put it bluntly, it was a combination of different species that gave birth to a child with a genetic defect. Although the bloodkin looked exactly like humans, they were not real humans. How could different species combine? It was like a cat and a mouse, or a sheep and a wolf. Two different species, even if they were forced to combine, not to mention whether they could give birth to a child, even if they were lucky enough to give birth, the child would only be a monster and would not be able to live for long. Feng Yanran's body had always been weak because of the genetic defect caused by the combination of different species. From time to time, she would feel weak and cold because of the lack of blood in her body. Originally, the novel mentioned that if Feng Yanran's bloodline defect could not be solved before the age of 20, her body would become weaker and weaker, and she would not be able to live past the age of 20. But then one day, after disappearing for a period of time, Feng Yanran returned. Her bloodline defect had been completely cured, and her strength had greatly increased. She had also become the strongest bloodkin, the Blood Emperor. How her genetic defect was cured, and what happened during the time she disappeared, the novel did not mention anything. Originally, she thought that it would be explained clearly in the story, but there was no story related to Feng Yanran. So, many things about Feng Yanran were mysteries. She did not want the female lead to have such a powerful blood-kin princess as Feng Yanran as a helper, but she could not think of a solution for the time being. The blood-kin were not to be trifled with. If she ran to go against Feng Yanran, she was afraid that Feng Tianqing would not let her go even before the blood-kin made a move. She could also make friends with Feng Yanran before Zicheng did, but after Feng Yanran's identity was exposed, the female lead, Zicheng, had been chased and beaten for a period of time. The vampires were the enemies of mankind, and Zicheng was a traitor to mankind by helping the vampires. Later on, if it wasn't for Zicheng's strength increasing greatly, leading the male lead and the supporting male lead to eliminate the powerful enemy that escaped from the virtual world, she wouldn't have been forgiven by everyone. Later on, because she signed a treaty with Feng Yanran for the peaceful coexistence of humans and vampires, she became a hero among humans. Thinking about the things that she would have to face if she were to be friends with Feng Yanran, she decided not to get close to Feng Yanran. After all, she was not Zicheng. Zicheng had the favorability system in his hands, so he was not afraid that Feng Yanran and her mother would do something bad to her. She did not have that kind of golden finger. Feng Tianqing had never been easy to deal with in the novel. Except for her own daughter and her husband, who was the prince of the bloodkin, she only cared about others. For some reason, Feng Tianqing was cold-blooded to her own family. She could not figure out what the Feng family had done to her to make her hate them so much. She was still very weak now, and the princess of the bloodkin was not to be trifled with. Zicheng was also able to maintain a good relationship with Feng Yanran and her mother because of the favorability system. If it was her, she would not have such confidence. Although she wanted to counterattack the female lead, she was not without self-awareness. Thinking about it, the safest way was to secretly divide the relationship between the female lead and Feng Yanran. She could not let them have the possibility of becoming best friends. Let's not talk about Irene's thoughts. Half of the 5-year competition had already passed, and the other half was for the 10 seats to challenge the people they wanted to challenge. The winner would obtain the opponent's ranking, and the loser would remain on the same ranking without any changes. Among the 10 seats, they had a certain understanding of each other's strength. The 6th seat challenged the 5th seat, the 3rd seat challenged the 2nd seat, and the 9th seat challenged the 8th seat. Among them, the 10th seat, the 7th seat, the 4th seat, and the 1st seat, Ming Shi, did not make a move. They just watched from the side. Seeing the 9th seat challenge Elena, Irene smiled coldly. He was indeed Eve's brother. As expected, his character was not good. Wasn't he challenging Elena now because he wanted to defeat her when Elena was hurt? Fengwu and Ajur also stared kindly at the 9th seat that they did not know. Challenging Senior Elena now is most likely because he wants to take advantage of her when she is hurt. This 9th seat does not seem to have a good character. Bad guy. Fengwu said the word with a serious expression. Her expressionless face puffed up due to anger, like a cute pufferfish. This guy can just wait to be taught a lesson by Senior Sister Elena. He thinks that he can take advantage of Senior Sister Elena just because she's injured. He'll be crying later. Ajur was indeed a straightforward person. It did not take long for the 9th seat contestant to admit defeat. He stepped down from the arena with an ugly expression on his face. He wanted to take this opportunity to advance further, but he did not expect that he would be mercilessly defeated by Elena. The 9th seat's expression turned even uglier when he saw the 10th seat's disdainful smile. However, he knew he could not say anything at this time. The more he said, the more people would laugh at him. After the 3 groups of opponents were finished, the 2nd seat Main turned to Ming Shi and issued a challenge. The challenge was not allowed to be rejected, unless the person challenging you was ranked higher than you. Ming Shi and Main's match was also without any suspense. Ming Shi once again proved to everyone that he was not only good-looking, but also extremely powerful. After Main was defeated, the 4th seat challenged Ming Shi again. The 4th seat knew that he was definitely not a match for Ming Shi. The only reason he challenged him was to see how big the gap was between him and the 1st seat. The truth was that the gap was indeed quite big. He had to work harder in the future. Ming Shi defeated the 3 challengers effortlessly. The competition for the 10th seat was officially over. There were no changes to the rankings. The 4th year's competition ended earlier than the 5th year. Skycliffe and the others were already waiting below the stage, watching Ming Shi beat up his opponents. Did you guys hear? There's a beauty in the school. A beauty? How beautiful can she be? Can she be more beautiful than Zicheng and Irene from the sorcerer department? Listen to me. I heard that the girl is much more beautiful than the 2 of them. She is like a goddess who has descended to earth. You are exaggerating. There are many beauties in our school. There are a few beauties in the 1st year alone. Not to mention Zicheng and Irene from the sorcerer department, there are also many beauties in the swordmaster department, not to mention the seniors. The beauty you are talking about can't be more beautiful than all the beauties in the school. Chapter 256. Heavenly Wind Continent was filled with beauties, and Notre Dame du Starlight was even more so. They had seen even more beautiful beauties, and they were no longer stunned by her beauty. Anyway, I've never seen such a beautiful girl before. If you don't believe me, you can go and take a look. There are a lot of students at the school gate looking at the beautiful girl. The boy shrugged his shoulders with a determined face. The only thing missing from his face was the words, "If you don't believe me, go and take a look yourself." Is that true? Everyone, let's go and take a look. I don't believe that she's as beautiful as you say. That's right, that's right. Those from the Swordmaster department decided to take a look with their own eyes. There were more than 1 or 2 people who were curious about the beauty that the male student mentioned. In a short period of time, a large group of male students from the Swordmaster department had decided to take a look at the beauty together. Xiao Wu, let's go and take a look. I'm quite curious as to what kind of beauty can make this group of animals so excited. Emogue stroked his chin as his gaze drifted towards the school gate. I'll go too. I also want to see how beautiful that beauty is. Silda walked over and hooked her arm around Fengwu's. Clearly, she was also very interested in that beauty. Me too, I want to go too. Bring me along. Many young boys and girls responded. Clearly, the appeal of a beauty was strong. Not only boys, but even girls were attracted. Fengwu blinked. She didn't even have time to express her opinion before she was pulled away by the surrounding students. More than half of Fengwu's class came out to see the beauty. When they reached a place not far from the school gate, they saw a beautiful girl with an otherworldly temperament standing there. The girl wore an elegant white dress and stood quietly at the school gate. She gave off a feeling of being detached from the world. Her ethereal temperament, coupled with her flawless appearance, instantly made all the beauties in the school pale in comparison. The surrounding boys all howled. A beauty, a great beauty, a peerless beauty. Too beautiful. I realized that I'm in love. She must be my future wife. Get lost, a beauty of this level is not something you guys can dream about. F***CKU. You want to get a beauty's attention with that ugly face of yours? Take a piss and look at your reflection first. This beauty had yet to enter the school, and the boys were already fighting over her. The scene was very lively. When the girls saw this scene, it was impossible for them not to have any thoughts in their hearts. For example, when a girl who had a boyfriend found her boyfriend staring at another girl who was more beautiful than her in a daze, it would be strange if her expression was good. What are you looking at? Do you think she's better than me? If so, then break up with her and go after her. What are you looking at? Don't look. Why aren't you leaving? What's so good about that woman? Some of the boys were directly pulled away, and some were scolded like dogs. They felt very sour. Just as everyone was curious about the beauty's identity, a teacher brought her in. When the beauty saw that so many people were looking at her, she lowered her head slightly. Her face was slightly red, as if she was shy. The tenderness and shyness when she lowered her head made the boys turn into artistic youths. They recited all the poems they could think of in their hearts. When the beauty was taken away by the teacher, the souls of many boys also left with the beauty. The direct result was that there were many more students who were in a daze and giggling in class today. At the door of every classroom, one could see students who were punished to stand, and they were all men. Seeing the beauty being taken away, Fengwu only took a few glances before looking away. The students next to her began to discuss the beauty's identity. However, Fengwu recognized the beauty at first glance. This beauty was none other than Feng Tianqing's daughter, Feng Yanran. A few days ago, her brother told her through the communication crystal that her aunt, Feng Tianqing, had been hired as a teacher at the Notre Dame du Starlight. If she had any problems that she could not solve, she could ask her aunt for help. Fengwu agreed at that time, although she did not think that she would need to look for Feng Tianqing. The Notre Dame du Starlight, which had been peaceful for many years, seemed to have an undercurrent because of the arrival of Feng Tianqing and her daughter. However, no one noticed this at the moment. Now, these innocent students were mostly talking about Feng Yanran's identity and her beauty. Feng Yanran's identity as the daughter of the Feng family was discovered not long after. Feng Yanran was not only beautiful, but also came from a super family, the Feng family. For a time, the most popular girl in the school suddenly became Feng Yanran. Zicheng and Irene, who were originally popular among the boys in the first grade, were reduced to the background. Of course, it was not only the two of them who were reduced to the background. Even many of the beauties who had been famous in the school for a long time were compared to Feng Yanran. Although Feng Yanran was very popular among the boys, her popularity among the girls had fallen to the bottom. Who told her to attract the attention of all the boys as soon as she appeared? It would be strange if she was liked by the girls. Feng Yanran had already missed this year's enrollment, but who told her to be the daughter of a school teacher? The teacher's child naturally had preferential treatment. She did not need to go through the enrollment and could directly enter the school. Of course, if she did not perform well after entering the school, she might still be rejected. Feng Yanran was a smart girl, and Feng Tianqing had always paid attention to her education, so the possibility of Feng Yanran being expelled was almost zero. Probably because her body was not very good, Feng Yanran did not enter the most popular mage department and swordsman department. Instead, she entered the pharmacist department. There were not many students in the pharmacist department. Because the pharmacist department burned too much money, and the requirements for talent were very high, there were very few students who could be accepted. Although the combat power of the pharmacist department students was not high, they could make friends with those strong people through medicine. Therefore, in the school, the students of the pharmacist department were the most difficult to deal with. Feng Yanran could be accepted by the pharmacist department, which also proved that her talent should be good. Otherwise, even if Feng Tianqing was the teacher of the Notre Dame du Starlight, those old-fashioned people in the pharmacist department who only looked at talent and not background would not agree to accept her. Feng Wu's enrollment had nothing to do with Feng Wu, but on a quiet morning, Feng Wu once again entered everyone's sight. "Hello, classmate. Can you help me call Feng Wu?" Feng Yanran looked at the blushing boy in front of her in front of everyone's curious and amazed gazes. She had a soft smile on her lips. That smile was as bright as the stars and captivating people's souls. "Okay, I'll go now." The boy's face was as red as blood. He turned and trotted into the classroom, but he did not pay attention and directly hit the door frame. Chapter 257. Suddenly, the students who had been peeking at Feng Yanran burst into laughter. The boys were pointed at and laughed at, and their faces became redder. The 10 of them stood up in embarrassment and did not dare to look at Feng Yanran again. They rushed into the classroom directly. Feng Wu was sitting in her seat and reading. These books were romance novels that Mo Gue had lent her. Norville felt that Feng Wu seriously lacked common knowledge about love, so he let Feng Wu read more romance novels, which would be helpful to her. Therefore, Feng Wu had been reading romance novels in class these days. Feng Wu's classmate, Feng Yanran, is looking for you at the door. After the boy finished speaking, he looked at Feng Wu anxiously, as if he wanted her to go out quickly and not let Feng Yanran wait for too long. Feng Yanran. Looking for her? Feng Wu blinked, wondering why Feng Yanran was looking for her. Yes, you should go out quickly. Don't let her wait for too long. The boy wanted to grab Feng Wu's hand and pull her out. Unfortunately, before he could grab Feng Wu's hand, he was slapped heavily in the face. With a loud slap, Mo Gue slapped the boy's hand away without hesitation. What do you want to do? How dare you touch her? Mo Gue stared at the boy with an unfriendly expression, as if he would not be polite if the boy dared to touch her again. After being slapped by Mo Gue, the boy looked a little embarrassed and seemed to realize that his behavior was wrong. Sorry, I didn't mean to. I was in a hurry. It's not good to let Feng Yanran wait for too long. You really care about her. Unfortunately, no matter how good you are to your family, she won't like you. Some girls had already noticed the interaction between the boy and Feng Wu, and they looked down on the boy's behavior of pleasing Feng Yanran. That's right, all of you are rushing to suck up to Feng Yanran. Boys are really a bunch of perverts who judge people by their appearance. Hey, don't overturn the whole boat, okay? The rest of us didn't do anything. A boy felt wronged and said loudly. That's right, that's right. What does this have to do with us? A heated debate broke out between the boys and girls on this topic. Feng Wu and Mo Gue didn't join them. Xiao Wu, are you going to see Feng Yanran? Feng Wu nodded. For Feng Yanran, Feng Wu didn't have any bad feelings, except that she always made Xiao Yi cry. Mo Gue was also curious as to why Feng Wu was here, so he whispered into Feng Wu's ear, "All right, then go quickly. Remember to tell me the details when you come back." After Feng Wu glanced at him, she walked out of the classroom and went to see Feng Yanran. This was the first time that Feng Wu and Feng Yanran had met after leaving the Feng family. Xiao Wu. Great, I finally see you. Why didn't you come to me and my mother? We waited for you for 2 days, but you didn't come to us, so I had to come to you myself. Feng Yanran and Feng Tianqing both thought that Feng Wu would come to them after knowing that they came to Notre Dame du Starlight. They didn't expect that after waiting for a long time, she still didn't come. In desperation, they had to come to Fengwu in person. Why should I go to you? She didn't need their help. Didn't brother say that she should only go to Aunt Tianqing when she was in trouble? Fengwu blinked her big eyes, and there was some confusion in her eyes. Feng Yanran didn't expect Fengwu to say this. A trace of embarrassment flashed across her small face, and then she returned to normal. We are family. Now that we are not at home and are outside, of course we should help each other. Fortunately, Feng Yanran didn't know Fengwu for the first time. She knew that her temperament was like this now. To be honest, the current Fengwu and the girl in her impression were really different. The Fengwu in Feng Yanran's impression was impulsive and bad-tempered. Because she took some of her favor in the Feng family, she put on airs and made her fall into the water. Because of this, she suffered a lot in her heart. Originally, she thought that after returning to the Feng family this time, Fengwu's reaction would be very big. Unexpectedly, Fengwu seemed to be a different person. Nothing happened. Not only did she not lose her temper, but she also didn't say anything. Was this still the Fengwu of that year? This change was too fast. Feng Yanran's heart was full of doubts, but other people in the Feng family didn't care about it. It seemed that Fengwu had changed a lot in these years. Feng Yanran didn't expect that this Fengwu had changed a long time ago. The reason why the Feng family didn't find out was that they thought she was stimulated and had a big change. They didn't think that the Fengwu now was no longer the Fengwu at the beginning. Brother said that when I have something to do, I can go to my aunt for help. The implication was that she didn't need their help now, so she didn't go to them. Feng Yanran's mouth twitched. She understood what she meant, but she didn't know how to answer. It turned out that she and her mother only needed her to see Fengwu when she needed them. Feng Yanran didn't want to continue this topic, so she changed the topic. Xiao Wu, how is Xiao Yi? How is he recently? I haven't seen Xiao Yi for a long time. I miss him. Can I go and see him after school today? Feng Yanran changed the topic to Xiao Yi. Fengwu looked at Feng Yanran, pursed her lips and said, Xiao Yi doesn't like you. He cries when he sees you. It's better if you don't see him. She didn't want Xiao Yi to cry endlessly. Feng Yanran, don't you know how to chat? The two didn't talk for long before Feng Yanran left. She found that she and Fengwu had nothing in common. No matter how she tried to find a topic, she couldn't chat happily with Fengwu. Fengwu always had a way to choke her words back. After they left unhappily, Fengwu returned to the classroom. The matter of Feng Yanran coming to Fengwu had caused all kinds of speculations in all grades. After all, the two had the surname Feng. Maybe they were relatives. But if Fengwu was really a member of the Feng family, why didn't they hear the sound of Feng before? At school, there was a lot of speculation. Some people guessed that Fengwu might be a side relative of the Feng family. Some people said that the two had nothing to do with each other. Maybe Feng Yanran and Fengwu just happened to have the same surname. In short, Fengwu's trip to the swordsman department made Fengwu, who had been quiet for a while, become a hot topic again. When Fengwu returned to the classroom, she was immediately warmly welcomed by the students. A group of people, with Mo Gue as the guard, asked several questions about Fengwu. In the end, they pieced together the questions and finally found out that Fengwu and Feng Yanran were cousins. After work, the students were really shocked. No one would have thought that Fengwu was a direct descendant of the Feng family. Moreover, she was the daughter of the head of the Feng family. Feng Yanran was just a cousin and she was already so famous. Fengwu, a direct descendant, was so low-key. If it wasn't for Feng Yanran coming to find her, no one would have connected Fengwu with the Super Feng family. Chapter 258. When Fengwu's true identity was revealed, the students in the class were shocked. Why didn't Fengwu say that she had such a strong background earlier? Even if she wanted to keep a low profile, she didn't have to pretend to be a commoner. Although the Notre Dame du Starlight valued talent more, family background was also very important. Generally, People with good family background and outstanding talent were not willing to associate with commoners, unless the commoner was really talented and had a limitless future. Only then would the young ladies and young masters of noble families condescend to associate with them. If Feng Wu hadn't revealed it herself, no one would have thought that there was a young lady of a super family hidden in their class. If Feng Wu hadn't admitted it herself, no one would have thought of this. There were many reasons why no one suspected that Feng Wu was a noble girl. First, Feng Wu's character was not as arrogant as those nobles, who had the same expressionless face to everyone. Second, Feng Wu had never shown contempt for commoners, nor did she look favorably on nobles. It was not that there were no commoners in the class, and there were quite a lot of commoners, at least 1/3 of the class. Every year, most of the students who entered the school were nobles. It was not because the Notre Dame du Starlight had any special preferential treatment for nobles, but in fact, it was easier for nobles to give birth to children with good talent. After all, nobles could eat meat with magic energy during pregnancy, and they could also get some energetic spiritual fruits to eat. These energies were very helpful to the fetus, so naturally, the fetus would have better talent. However, commoners did not have such conditions, so they could only rely on luck and character. For commoners, nobles had a natural sense of superiority. Who would have thought that a noble girl of a super family would hide in a group of commoners? In the eyes of nobles, this was simply an incredible thing. If it was someone else, pretending to be a small noble was the limit. Who could lower themselves to pretend to be a commoner? Because no noble had ever done this before, so they didn't doubt Feng Wu's background. Therefore, when Feng Wu's background was revealed, they were so shocked that their jaws almost dropped. The identity of Feng Wu and her relationship with Feng Yanran spread in the school at the fastest speed. Hearing this gossip, many students were skeptical. The one who doubted the authenticity of this matter the most was Rika. Rika couldn't believe that the commoner she always looked down on was actually the daughter of the Feng family. Moreover, according to the rumors, Feng Wu was a legitimate daughter. Upon hearing this news, Rika felt as if the whole world had turned into a fantasy. Of course, Rika wasn't the only one who was in disbelief. Anika was so shocked that she almost spat out the fresh milk that she had just drunk. What did you say? Feng Wu was the legitimate daughter of the Feng family. Which Feng family? Putting down the teacup, Anika didn't even bother to wipe her mouth as she anxiously asked Silda, who was sitting beside her. After Silda learned of Feng Wu's identity, of course, he couldn't remain silent. Before Feng Wu's background was announced, Rika would frequently cause trouble for Feng Wu. Also, there were scandals about Feng Wu in the school. Don't think that he didn't know that Rika was behind these things. The scandals about Feng Wu always came from the mage department, and they were all from the first-year mage department. Aside from Rika, Silda couldn't think of anyone who would hate Feng Wu so much that they would spread scandals behind her back. In order to avenge Feng Wu, Silda specially waited here after school to see what kind of expression Rika would have after learning the truth. Rika really didn't disappoint him. That look of disbelief, as if she had seen a ghost, was simply too funny. What other Feng family? Of course, it's the one from the ancient eastern country. Otherwise, do you know any other Feng family? Silda said in a good mood. Rika sat opposite the two. Her expression changed again and again. She simply couldn't believe her ears. How is that possible? If Feng Wu really had such an identity, she would have said it long ago. Why would she deliberately hide it? Rika judged others by herself. If she was the legitimate daughter of the Feng family, why would she hide it? She would have said it long ago and waited for people to curry favor with her. She wouldn't lower herself and pretend to be a commoner. Thinking this way, she felt a lot more at ease. Compared to Feng Wu suddenly becoming a noble family's daughter, she hoped that Feng Wu's identity would never change. After all, it wasn't a secret that she and Feng Wu had a bad relationship in the dormitory. Moreover, the reason for their bad relationship was because of Feng Wu's commoner identity. If Feng Wu wasn't a commoner, then she would have offended a noble family's daughter for no reason. She couldn't afford to make such a mistake. Hearing this, Silda looked deeply at Rika and said, "Do you think everyone is like you? You talk about your noble identity every day. Xiao Wu is a real noble family's daughter. How can she be like you? What do you mean? Rika slammed the table and stood up. Her small face was full of anger. In the past, among the four of them, her and Silda's family backgrounds were undoubtedly the best. Anika's family background was slightly worse than theirs. In her eyes, Fengwu was just a commoner who wasn't worthy of her attention at all. If it wasn't for her relationship with Fengwu being insulted by a juror, she wouldn't even want to talk to Fengwu. But now, Silda told her that the person she had always looked down on was actually of noble birth. And the family background that she was proud of was actually nothing in the eyes of others. How could she accept such a big difference? It was probably because she couldn't accept it. Even though she knew that Silda wouldn't joke about this kind of thing, she still found all kinds of reasons to convince herself. She refused to believe that she had always been wrong. She had always looked down on Fengwu and became a clown. It was probably because she knew it in her heart that she was so angry at Silda's provocation. I mean it literally. Didn't you always look down on Xiao Wu? Great. Now Xiao Wu's status is much higher than yours. Let's see how you're going to put on airs in front of her now. Silda had always looked down on people like Rika. In the circle of nobles, small nobles like them were really nothing. Rika, on the other hand, always talked about her status and wanted to gain a sense of superiority from the commoners. Towards people like her, Zilda absolutely despised them. That's enough. Can the two of you stop arguing? Anika couldn't take it anymore and roared. In fact, her voice wasn't loud. It was just that she rarely spoke so loudly. This caused Rika and Silda to be stunned. By the time Fengwu returned, the argument had already ended. Silda no longer mocked and ridiculed Rika, and Rika no longer tried to curry favor with Fengwu because of her change in status. She just subconsciously began to avoid Fengwu. Chapter 259. Fengwu never paid attention to these things. In her heart, Rika was not her friend. Since they were not friends, then she naturally would not care about Rika's attitude. In the fierce storm caused by Feng Yanron's arrival, the semester ended. After this final examination, the first years finally had a ranking. However, this ranking was not based on a competition, but was always based on the students' written test results and actual combat results. Fengwu was ranked 10th by the teacher. It was not because Fengwu's strength was lower than theirs, but because Fengwu's written test had a lot of points deducted. In terms of actual combat results, in the swordsman department, she had always been ranked first and had never fallen from the throne of first place. However, this girl's results in other non-combat subjects were a mess. Mathematics, geography, and continental history weren't too bad as they all got full marks for these three subjects. However, when it came to the language subject, it turned out to be Man Jianghong. He even got an eye-catching score of 0. The difference in results was so big that it blinded everyone's eyes. Student Fengwu, please explain what is going on. Why did you get a 0 in ancient language, dragon language, and dwarf language? 80% of these questions are multiple-choice questions. Why did you leave them all blank? Even if you filled in any one of them, it is impossible to get a 0. The language teacher was so angry that she almost slammed the table. What was going on? This child obviously did very well in other subjects. Why did it become like this when it was her turn? What would the other teachers think of her? Would they think that she was not diligent enough, which caused such an excellent student like Fengwu to be seriously biased? Thinking of this, the teacher suddenly felt a toothache. Fengwu was pulled into the office to be educated. She kept her head down. When she heard the teacher ask her, she raised her small head. She blinked her black eyes, which were full of confusion. It was the teacher who said that if we don't understand, we should leave the questions blank. Don't think about guessing. This is not good for our studies. The teacher felt that she had been stabbed and was seriously injured. She did not know what to say. This was indeed what she had said, but she had never met a student who really followed it. For example, this kind of multiple-choice questions were completely free marks. Normal people would choose an answer to fill in even if they did not know how to do it. There was a 1/4 chance that they would get it right. She did not even answer the free marks questions, and even used the words she said in class to shut her mouth. She did not know what to say and felt very depressed. After weekly scolding Feng Wu, she waved her hand to let Feng Wu leave the office. Feng Wu obediently went out and helped the teacher close the door. Feng Wu was a little unhappy when she left the office. It wasn't that she didn't want to do well in the language exam, but she didn't have the nerve. Feng Wu had tried her best to learn those difficult languages, but she couldn't master them at all. Ajur and Mo Gue also comforted her, telling her not to take it to heart. In any case, her chances of encountering dragons and ancient ruins in this life were not high, and the chances of encountering dwarves were even lower. Since she did not encounter these people and things, it did not matter if she did not learn the 3 languages well. In fact, the language exam at Notre Dame du Starlight was not as simple as these 3 languages. There were more than a dozen languages and scripts from other races and civilizations for students to choose from. Each student had to choose 3 languages to study. Feng Wu had chosen these 3 languages, but in the end, she had not learned anything even after studying for almost a year. Although she did not get first place in the final exam and did not get the only free meal, she could eat in the dining hall on the 3rd floor. This was also good news for Feng Wu. When she thought about the delicious food, she almost forgot about the small matter of being scolded by the teacher. After going back to pick up baby Feng Yi, Feng Wu walked into the student cafeteria with her son, who had grown up a lot. The students were already calm about Feng Ye's arrival. Ever since Feng Yi could eat some supplementary food, Feng Wu would bring her son to the cafeteria to eat from time to time. Because Feng Yi was very cute, he attracted the love of many little girls who were overflowing with love. Even the waitress would give Feng Wu face and specially leave more food for her. Because Feng Yi loved to eat egg custard, the waitress would specially leave a portion for Feng Yi so that the little bun could eat it when he came. "Little Yi, you've gained weight again." A girl's eyes lit up when she saw Feng Yi. I happily walked over and touched his chubby little face. "So cute, little Yi is so cute. If only my child could be so cute in the future." "Is Xiao Wu going to the 3rd floor?" "Yes, the list of the 10 seats is out today. Xiao Wu is the 10th seat. She is qualified to eat on the 3rd floor. Congratulations, Xiao Wu, you can finally eat delicious food. Remember to tell us what the 3rd floor looks like when you come down." We entered the school together. We still don't know what the 3rd floor looks like. More and more people gathered around. Some wanted to be intimate with Feng Wu, and some wanted to congratulate her. Feng Wu nodded at them as a response. Everyone was used to Feng Wu's inarticulate manner, so they did not resent her for not being friendly enough. Feng Wu wanted to go to the 3rd floor, so the little baby Feng Yi naturally had to follow. This made the young boys and girls on the 1st floor a little reluctant. Little Yi was a very cute little baby. His little mouth could always make them laugh. Thinking that they would not be able to see this little fellow when they eat in the future, everyone was a little disappointed. Fortunately, they did not leave the school. Even if they could not eat together in the cafeteria, they could still meet in other places in the school. The waitress told Feng Wu to remember to bring the egg custard back for little Yi when she left. Feng Wu nodded her head with bright eyes. The waitress was a good person. The 3rd floor of the student cafeteria had always been the place where the most elite students of each year gathered. Only the 10th seat of the year could step into this world. Today, a strange combination appeared in this world. It was a black-haired little lowly and a white and chubby little bun. The appearance of Feng Wu and little bun undoubtedly attracted attention. The uniform on her body proved her identity as a first-year student, and the fact that she could come up to the 3rd floor also proved to everyone that she was one of the 10 seats of the first years. Little Bun Feng Yi opened his eyes wide and looked at the unfamiliar people around him. The 3rd floor was very big, but there were not many people. Because only the 10 seats of each year would step into this place, there were naturally not many people. Little Bun struggled on Feng Wu's body and said in a childish voice, "Mommy, go down." You're tuning in to the Narrate and Escape YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.